your home for Kings talk and so much more.
Live and local.
Allen Stiles on Sacktown Sports.
Yes. Taking you up to 2 p.m. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports. And we have made it to Friday Eve. That's Thursday if you are new to the show. And if you are new to the show, thank you for listening. However you may be listening. Sack Chat on the radio or on another app, the Sacktown Sports app, the TuneIn app. Let's get you going. As Summer League gets going today, Jason Ross is on his way to Las Vegas. I can't wait to join him out there. And we are finally going to see some Kings basketball, we think. People have had some questions about how easy it will be to watch Kings basketball during the Summer League, things like that. All I got to say is where there's a will, there's a way. Where there's a will, there's a way, and you can get it all taken care of and see your Neek Clifford, your Maxime Reynaud, your Devin Carter. Where there is a will, there is a way, and I plan on willing myself a lot during the Summer League in a couple different ways. So we will break down a ton of Kings talk as far as what we're looking for and what we hope to get out of Summer League. And we will have that discussion with Chris Watkins, who will join us at 12 from 12 to 1. So he'll be with us for an hour. Frankie and Brendan will have kind of a makeshifty roundtable tomorrow. Those guys will be, Chris as well, will be in Las Vegas. So we will talk with all of them. So we will have the full roundtable. That's just going to happen tomorrow. I don't know where they're doing it from, maybe their hotel room, but we will have them on tomorrow as well. Devin Booker gets the bag, and that has started quite the discussion about players and chasing rings and what you should care about, what you shouldn't care about. And for me, I started a conversation on TikTok, and it blew up a little bit. And this is the Damian Lillard thing, right? Where I don't necessarily, I'm not hating on you at all. But when you hear about the De'Aaron Foxes of the world and certain guys saying, hey, where's the direction going? And then you see Devin Booker just accept an extension to go nowhere, as it seems like the Suns are doing right now. Let's just not play games, right? And we can hide behind, that was a lot of the comments. We can do the loyalty thing if we want. That's all fine and good. Like I said, I'm not even saying I would do anything differently than Devin Booker. But we don't have to play the games and pretend this guy is just being loyal. He wants to win in Phoenix. Yeah, I'd want to win in Phoenix too. Or not. If somebody's paying me $60 million a year, he sets a new record. So we'll have a little bit of fun with that. Everybody is going to kind of chime in and give their thoughts. 916-339-1140. As we discussed, Summer League, Cooper Flag, Jason might be the only person at the Kings game. Everyone's going to be watching. And why are we putting Bronny in the same? This is the problem, right? Bronny has actually looked really good during the summer. He floated on that dunk. But why are we putting, who was it, Bleacher Report or whoever it was, why are we putting Bronny right next to Cooper Flag? Like, this is the stuff that annoys people, Kyle.
Well, I'll give you the cynical answer is because now ESPN pays for the rights to Summer League, so they got to make that money back somehow, and the way they can do that is by putting Cooper Flag against Bronny James, the main event of Summer League, because they are the two biggest names at Summer League. In a world where Dylan Harper is hurt and VJ Edgecombe is now out because I think he hurt his wrist.
They were going to do that anyway.
Sure, but those were the two names that mattered the most at Summer League, was Bronny James, because everyone can't get enough of LeBron James talk, and Cooper Flag, who is supposed to be the greatest small forward since Larry Bird.
So we'll see what happens there. Obviously, were interested in it. I saw, I think it was Bobby Marks say, if you're betting on Summer League, you might need to call the number. Then, or it was it Keith Smith?
Yeah.
Keith Smith said that. And then somebody responded saying, actually betting on Summer League is some of the safest betting you could find. So look, I'm not telling you to do it or not do it.
That's a crazy sentence to say, by the way.
I mean,
actually,
Keith, I'll have you know, this is some of the safest wagering you can make.
That is a crazy thing to know.
Challenges at the All-Star game. I'm talking MLB now. The ABS system will be a part of the All-Star game. I just have one question. Why? This would be the game where people care the least, right? I know they went back to whoever wins it, and they've given some power back to whoever wins that game. I get all that, but why?
Wait, what do you mean?
It doesn't matter now.
No,
right?
it doesn't.
They got rid of it. So why?
Well, because it's an exhibition. It's the same reason why they did it in spring training. They're soft launching it to be in Major League Baseball within the next year or two.
If you're not putting me on blast like that in the All-Star game.
It's gonna happen, man.
My point is, because it doesn't matter, how much are players even going to use it? I don't want to strike out, right? But am I really going to tap my head? I mean, it's an all-star game.
I think because it's an exhibition, it's more about acquainting the baseball fan to it, right? Because some baseball fans watch spring training and watch minor leagues and see how it works, right? You're obviously out there at the River Kitties and they use the ABS system. But this is more so like getting people, I think, less than the actual practical effects. It's just getting people used to the fact that, like, hey, this is coming. Here's what it looks like. Since every baseball fan is going to be watching, let's show you kind of what it is. I think it's more like an exhibition of the ABS than it is actually doing anything.
So I saw that, and yeah, I hear what you're saying. I'm just, okay, cool. It is what it is. Giannis was on with Speed. I Show Speed, one of the biggest streamers out there right now. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I only knew or figured out what it is that I'm talking about right now maybe a year ago. But these athletes, they love it, man. It's the new culture. A lot of people call it the new version of reality TV. These dudes got, the Kai Cenats. These dudes got beef with each other, and it's a reality show series that people will watch on either Twitch or Kick or some of these streaming services. And athletes love it. I mean, we live in a world now where Giannis is dang near willingly, or I should say, you could even argue that Giannis may have hit up Speed to kick it with him and have a conversation. It's not crazy to say. I don't know if Speed's people had to reach out, because Giannis even said, hey, I want to get into the streaming thing. Giannis is, I'm Mr. Goofy. I don't know what a Twinkie is. So he hit up, somehow they linked up Speed and Giannis, and Speed is being aggregated by NBA accounts because Giannis is giving answers on how he feels about the Milwaukee Bucks. I know there's a journalist out there in Milwaukee pissed off.
Like, what the heck?
But this is the world we're living in. I keep telling people, you got to build your brands, and you build it, they will come. So Giannis saying a lot about his future and how people want him to play with the Knicks. So we have that sound for you as well. Also, a big announcement. We'll start kind of pushing this more so throughout the next couple of weeks here, because we are essentially a month away. But I'm really, really excited to announce that we will be launching the first, showcase called Top of Nine. It's called Top of Nine Showcase, founded by myself. This is for 16 through 19-year-olds that are maybe a bit under recruited. And whether you're in the Sacramento, you don't have to be in the Sacramento area. We're doing it at Luther Burbank High School, August 9th. Really excited. We know that American River is going to be there. We're working with Sac City right now. We know a couple junior colleges from the Peninsula area going to be there as well. Jessup University in Lincoln is going to be attending, and we're still working on a couple other schools from the area, JUCOs and 4 years. So if you know a baseball player out there that feels like maybe they're a little bit under-recruited or flying under the radar. August 9th, go check that out at top9showcase.com. Really excited working with a guy named Josh Hammer, who is really big in the kind of baseball realm out here, the training realm. So if you have more questions, go hit that up, top9showcase.com. So we'll be promoting that. We'll have some people on, and that's August 9th. So really excited to be a part of this, doing it at Luther Burbank High School, and they've been incredibly nice to us and a great facility out there. So it's going to be a great day. And if you know somebody out there that, hey, I'm hitting 300 and it is what it is, and kind of what made me want to do something like this is I was that kid. I tell a great story and everybody says, Allen, you played D1, but it really wasn't that simple, right? Going to De La Salle, my junior year, there were 7 D1 commits, 7. And 3 of them got drafted, and 1 of them played in the show, right? It was a mess. So I had to go to Sonoma State, a Division II, walked on there, redshirted, had to go to a junior college, and then finally made my way to Temple University, where I met my lovely wife. And now we have a beautiful family. But it was tough sledding. So this is for if you've gone to a perfect game showcase and you were a 7 out of 10 or a 7.5, this showcase is for you to show what you can do. So excited about that. And the larger question is, how excited is everyone about the Sacramento Kings? And I mentioned this on social media that we were going to talk about it, and I want to get into it right now. This is from KingsCake_1, really, really good Twitter handle and kind of Kings Twitter personality. And this is what they said. To be honest, TBH, to be honest, the Kings running it back is a win-win. Either the Kings absolutely suck and bottom out, giving us a chance at snabbing one of those highly touted franchise-defining prospects in next year's draft, or the Kings somehow make a fluke run and we all get to be happy again. My response to that was essentially, I feel like you're leaving out the one other option that tends to happen to the Kings over and over again, which is Maren Morris, why don't you meet me in the middle? And they're a 9-10 seed. They get anywhere from 7 to 14, which is still a good pick. They have their own pick, sure, but they're not getting the top tier talent unless they get lucky, right? Like the Mavericks. And now, again, you're hoping for Lady Luck. You're outside the top 5.
Or you find the next Tyrese Halliburton in the middle of the draft, which every team picking 7 through 14 is trying to do.
Sure. So that was my response. Okay. They then kind of responded and said, well, let's break it down. The 3 scenarios that can happen next season: Kings bottom out, and then they added 3, which initially they only had 2. Kings bottom out, good. I think this is pretty much what everyone wants, including me. Kings somehow make a miracle run in the playoffs. Selfishly, I like this idea purely because it would bring some joy again. Kings are mid and go 40-42. This is the worst possible outcome, and yet I would argue it still isn't that bad. Yes, we miss out on a top 5 prospect, but the 2026 draft is very deep, and we can still end up with a high upside player between 12 and 14, and then goes on to say some of the things that we've been talking about what next season will bring as far as cap flexibility and just contract flexibility. They closed by saying my point wasn't that everything is good. It's just there really are no bad outcomes after this season. That's a good way to look at it. But when you're building and when you look around at, okay, Devin Carter, I know it was a lesser draft. We'll see what happens with Devin Carter. He's a 13th pick, and how dry these things can get. You get to those double digits and you're already starting to guess. You get to that 10th pick and you're already starting to have 50-50 conversations. So in my opinion, I ran it in Tankathon, and Kyle, you said this yesterday, that in Tankathon, the Kings are right now slated as the 8th worst team, right? That's how Tankathon has them set. So I ran the Tankathon simulator twice. If the Kings finish as the 8th worst team in the league, okay? Drum roll, Kyle. I don't know if you have one.
Not
work.
on hand.
Okay.
We'll try this one real quick.
Okay. The first time I ran the Tankathon simulator, the Kings took the 4th pick in the NBA draft.
Hey, that's pretty good.
The second time I ran the simulator in Tankathon, the Kings had the 1st pick in the NBA draft.
Oh, so all our problems are solved.
If they do what they're supposed to do, which leaves fans in a really weird position to where you're watching a team that's not necessarily supposed to lose, but you kind of want them to lose. And that's a really bizarre feeling. On top of that, the tickets are more expensive than they were last season. So Kings fans want to support. This isn't Major League. I know Kyle's never seen that movie, but this isn't Major League. You can't root for the team to lose. But if they have that, my problem with Kings Cake is that the quote-unquote miracle run is exactly what we've seen before. I don't want to live in a world where a miracle run is actually losing in the first round. Because that's what this is, right? If the Kings, I guess miracle would maybe be second round, but what are we talking about? What are we talking about?
So this is another misconception of tanking, I think, that people don't realize, which is in the modern age where lottery odds have been flattened, you don't get the same benefits of being at the top of the draft as you once did, right? The Pistons spent 5 years in the lottery, and they ended up with pick 8, pick 5, pick 1, the 1 year they got the good fortune in the lottery, pick 5. Those are not quote-unquote superstar hits other than getting the 1 pick of Cade Cunningham. And just getting that 1 Cade Cunningham pick turned their entire fortunes around, right? Because Asar Thompson and Jaden Ivey and Ron Holland and Killian Hayes, none of those guys turned into all-star NBA players, but you just need the 1 year to hit. And in a world where the odds have been flattened, you could have the 8th worst record and finish as the 12th seed in the West. And guess what? You've got a 26% chance of getting a top 4 pick in the draft. And you've still got a 7% chance of landing the number 1 pick. If you go back to when they flattened the odds, I think only 3 times has a team with one of the 4 worst records actually gotten the number 1 pick in the draft.
I just ran it again. I'm not kidding you. I'm not kidding you. I ran it again. The Kings were number 1 again. I'm not even joking.
It's not possible.
I'm not even joking. Bulls number 2, Hawks number 3, Wizards number 4, and the Jazz still can't get the number 1 pick. They're number 5.
Well, they can't because the Sacramento Kings are stealing AJ. How do you pronounce his last name? They're stealing AJ from the Utah Jazz, which, by the way, I don't know if you know that story, but the owner of the Jazz helped fund AJ going to both high school at like one of these academies and then going to BYU. So Utah's been laying the foundation for a while on this kid, and now's their time to try and cash in on him.
They wanted Cooper, didn't get Cooper. Maybe they'll get him. But that's the weird thing about this, man. So obviously, if it's based on record, it is what it is. But then if you get into the playoffs, that changes things. I don't, to be completely honest with you, I don't care how deep a draft is. I don't want to sell that and look at 12th, 14th instead of 1 through 5 because we wanted to wear some extra large t-shirts and go to the first round.
Well, and part of it too is that when you do the rebuild, you have to stack multiple drafts back to back to back in order to begin the come up, right? You have to, get the 1 star that turns your fortunes around. Cade Cunningham, Paolo Banchero, Victor Wembanyama, Chet Holmgren. Yes, you have to get the 1 star at the top of the draft that everyone knows is going to be a future all-star. But you also, if you look at the Rockets, you also have to get Asar Thompson, they have Amon, one of the Thompson twins.
Yeah.
You have to get a Thompson twin. You have to land a Jalen Green, who you then use to get a Kevin Durant. You have to land a Şengün. You have to land a Tari Eason. You have to get a Jabari Smith Jr. Like, you have to stack 4 or 5 of these drafts back to back and hit on every pick to get to the position where a team like the Rockets are right now, which is what, maybe a top 4 seed in the Western Conference next season. It takes a long time, and even just getting the one player is not going to turn your fortunes. Look at San Antonio.
Right. But you put yourself in a better position. You have to start the process. And I feel like, you know what this is, Kyle? This is literally, the Kings are literally me with my real ID passport situation. You could get by, right? Now, the story was, obviously, I'm going to be on paternity leave in September. So I was going to make my way, get my passport, my real ID all taken care of. And all of a sudden, the Kings move it, because I didn't think I was going to Vegas. Kings move into the first round. And all of a sudden, hey, yeah, I probably need to be out there for Summer League. Then they get my guy Maxime Reynaud, and it's, hey, I definitely need to be out there for Summer League. And all these years of procrastinating are not going to bite me in the butt, but very easily could hinder my situation. Somebody is joking that I need to get there 5 hours before, and that's exactly what the Kings are doing, right? They are procrastinating and pushing away the inevitable. The inevitable is they're going to have to stink at some point if they truly, truly want to have sustainable success. What they're trying to build now with Dennis Schroeder, Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, Domantas Sabonis, and Keegan being the only guy under 26, that is not sustainable anything. That's sustainable mediocrity, as somebody said in the text line. That's what it is. And I don't know how Scott Perry truly, truly feels if you give him a truth serum, but if every other GM in the league looks at them and says, I don't know what the Kings are doing, I just don't, and Scott Perry doesn't strike me as I'm Aaron Rodgers, smartest guy in the room type of guy. He doesn't strike me as that, unless, again, going back to ownership, maybe this isn't his idea, but this is all fine and good. And we're having, this is a carbon copy of the conversation with different players, but the same conversation. Now with De'Aaron, it was maybe we can add a wing and get there, right? They didn't do that. So they were kind of stuck in the same thing. Now they swapped the characters. It's a different cartoon on the same network. And now we're looking at the same thing, and we're having the same, and Chris Watkins is going to be a blast from the past. Chris Watkins is going to be sitting here at 12 o'clock, and we're going to be arguing, can the Kings sneak in and win a first-round series or make a good run out of the first round? It's the same thing. Different GM, different head of the snake, different coach. We're still searching for the same thing, and I don't know whether or not Scott Perry truly wants to do this. All I know is that this is the one thing, and we can talk about when everyone says, oh, you can rework things. Yeah, the Pacers did it with dudes under 27. They had their Miles Turner, which could be Sabonis, but then they had Tyrese Halliburton, Aaron Nesmith, guys like that, who we don't actually know what, Andrew Nembhard, we don't actually know what they are. Oh, and by the way, they had a hell of a lot of luck. We know what these Kings players are. Dennis should have been playing for 12 years. Zach LaVine been playing a decade or whatever it is. DeMar DeRozan been playing for 2 decades. This isn't when people argue, and I hear it on the drive guys more so Drapes than Whitey. When people argue the reworking stuff, show me an example of the reworking with players that have been in the league for a decade, right? And these are the guys you're ushering in. That's not what we're seeing with this rework, the new rework model. Oh, you don't have to tank. You just got to rework. We're not seeing that. That Pacers model, that's not the Kings. It's not.
It only works if you also get a top 10 player in the sport along with your reworked roster. And,
Yes.
and I think the crux of the going down argument is the Kings do not have a path to acquiring a top 10 player in the NBA in the next 5 years. Therefore, their best chance is to go to the bottom and hope that you're the team that selects one of the next 6 stars of the generation that is to come after all these guys have aged out.
So That's my spiel. That's my spiel to start off the show. Tankathon. I've ran Tankathon. Look, I don't want to stink. I know. Nobody wants. You feel like you've stunk enough if you're a Sacramento. And I know I haven't been out here as long as a lot of you have been. But I just ran the Tankathon 4-5 times now. The Kings got the first pick twice. The Kings got the fourth pick twice, and they got the third pick once. All they got to do is be 12th in the West. That's all. Just know your role. It could be an exciting 12th. It could be exciting 12th. Whoa. There's got to be a milestone DeMar DeRozan's going to pass.
Who was the 12th seed in the West last year? I think it was the Spurs. They had an exciting season.
That's a good season. That's a damn good season. Okay? So just know your role. Speaking of, John Elmore and Mason Jones, they seem to know their roles. Is it good? I saw this yesterday on social media. Is it good to use the veterans as gatekeepers for some of the young players? Allen Stiles, 4 hours with you, Sacktown Sports.
Hagen Oaks wants to be your go-to total golf game fitter. Try the TrackMan experience, the very best technology to fit your metal woods and irons. The new cutting-edge putter fitting studio with its $30,000 worth of technology is ready for your fitting. Hagen Oaks will help you find the best putter for your game. Hagen Oaks offers more technology, more choices, and more service. Schedule your fitting at the Hagen Oaks Player Performance Studio by calling 916-808-2531. 808-2531 for more.
With 25 award-winning years in Northern California, Ashton & Price is your local injury law firm. Pro attorney tip: if a firm presents as local but they're in LA, red flag. If your first consultation is not with a lawyer, big red flag. At Ashton & Price, your first consult is with a local attorney, and if serious injury prevents travel, a lawyer will come to you. Still not enough? George Washington's my uncle. At Ashton & Price, no red flags, just red, white, and blue.
Remember, for the best advice, don't think twice. Call Ashton & Price.
Hagen Oaks wants to be your go-to total golf game fitter. Try the TrackMan experience, the very best technology to fit your metal woods and irons. The new cutting-edge putter fitting studio with its $30,000 worth of technology is ready for your fitting. Hagen Oaks will help you find the best putter for your game. Hagen Oaks offers more technology, more choices, and more service. Schedule your fitting at the Hagen Oaks Player Performance Studio by calling 916-808-2531. 808-2531 for more.
Are you thinking about buying a new car? Well, maybe you're on the fence. Let me help you out. Kyle Draper here from Mercedes-Benz of Stockton. From the first time I stepped into the MP of Stockton showroom, I knew I made the right choice. I settled on the all-electric EQS SUV. It's comfortable, stylish, and most importantly, it's safe. Mercedes-Benz has the reputation of making the finest cars in the world. Now it's your turn to experience what I already know. Mercedes-Benz of Stockton is the best car buying experience you'll ever have. It's just a short drive down I-5 or anytime at mpofstockton.com.
Did you know about 1/3 of our lives is spent sleeping? Hi, this is Franklin Rosa with a word about Naturewood Home Furnishings. If we're going to spend that much time in our bedrooms, then our bedrooms ought to reflect our personalities. I remember many weekend mornings when our kids would jump into our beds trying to coax us to start our days more on their schedules than ours. Naturewood Home Furnishings' huge bedroom sale is here, and there's no better time to find the perfect accent piece for your bedroom, or even better, to start fresh by designing your bedroom to fit your lifestyle. From a new mattress and foundation to dressers to nightstands to lamps and more. Naturewood Home Furnishings will help you create a space from simple to luxurious and anything in between. Just drop by and let Naturewood's team help you envision a bedroom fit for 1/3 of your life. Visit Naturewood Home Furnishings right now for this remarkable bedroom sale. Off Highway 50 at Hazel, look for the water reel.
Get ready for a night out with Jordan Davis. It's Country in the Park 2, Saturday, September 13th at Cal Expo. Along with the special guests, Mitchell Tenpenny, Locash, Vincent Mason, and Averyana. Make it a family day out with food trucks, games, dancing, and more. Saturday, September 13th at Cal Expo.
Sponsored by Tricks Racing Games, Chicken Fingers, and Naturewood Home Furnishings. Tickets at CITPFest.com.
Get ready to leap tall buildings in a single bound as DC Comics' Superman, the IMAX experience, flies onto the Esquire IMAX Theater 6-story screen in downtown Sacramento.
No matter what you do to me, Luther, your plans won't work.
The Man of Steel is back. It's the beginning of a whole new adventure for Clark Kent. Grab the family and experience Experience Superman's new epic adventure filled with hope. Get your reserved seats today at IMAX.com/Sacramento.
Hey, buddy. Eyes up here.
Superman, the IMAX Experience, playing this week on the largest screen in Sacramento, the Esquire IMAX Theater.
Whitey here with another great grilling tip. The Napoleon Stainless Steel Prestige 500 Connected Propane Grill with infrared side and rear burner featuring Wi-Fi and Bluetooth connectivity brings you closer to your grilling experience than ever before. The Napoleon Connected lets you monitor temperatures, set timers, and receive high temp warnings. Boop, boop. All from your smartphone with temperature probes and LCD display. You'll always know exactly what's happening inside your grill. Napoleon's LED control knobs even illuminate for nighttime entertaining and feature safety glow. Napoleon Grills, simply the best.
Allen Stiles. Watch the show on youtube.com/Sacktown Sports 1140.
Or listen on the Sacktown Sports app.
"916 says, I've flown 6 times since May 7th without a real ID or passport. There's no difference not having a passport or real ID. Sac Airport does the most, which is wiping your phone with a cloth. All other airports have done absolutely nothing. Maui, San Diego, Las Vegas. Man, 916, you living a good life. Maui, San Diego, Las Vegas. So they just wipe your phone with a cloth to make sure there's nothing on it?
I would not trust this person's advice. Maybe they did have that happen to them. I would not take their advice.
Either way, I got to show you, Kyle. I'm good. I think I'm solid.
Yes, you were looking it up after crosstalk, and you feel pretty good about your chances.
I mean, I got the ticket. So
at the Vegas airport, they're just like, yeah, whatever. Go for it.
Right. They're like, just leave.
Just get out of here. The departures at the Vegas airport has got to be just one of the saddest places in America.
I'm going to be really happy for a lot of reasons. I'm leaving with cash and sources. Okay? Courses, cash, and sources. 916 says
5-course meal.
That's right. 916 says, for some reason, you don't seem to recognize all the talent we have right now. Just balance the roster, and we have a chance for a top 6 seed, and then who knows what happens after that. With the talent on this team, Perry can still put together a top 6 team. That should be the goal. Losing doesn't guarantee anything. We have talent right now. 916, what does just balance the roster mean? What does it mean? What does it mean? Just balance. That's what, because he did. Dennis Schroeder, they're at 38.5 wins. Vegas thinks they'll be 11th. Tankathon thinks they'll be 12th. What does balance the roster? What does it mean? I'm done with these kind of buzzwords and buzz terms.
What are we doing?
And then we're still talking about the 6 seed. Give me a 6 seed that won the whole thing. Why are we, what are we playing? You play to win the game. What are we talking about?
Well, the other part of it too, let's take seeds out of it, because in the modern NBA, I would make the argument seeds have never mattered less just because of the parity.
Fine.
Do you know how many teams since the merger have won fewer than 50 games and won the NBA championship? The merger is 1976, so in the last 50 years.
Wasn't it that Rockets team?
That's one.
And won the NBA championship?
And won the NBA championship with fewer than 50 wins.
I only know about the Rockets team.
There's a second one. It was the Bill Walton Blazers in 1977.
There you go.
That's it. I think also the 78 Bullets, but forget about it. It's since 1978, one team. Since 1994, 0 teams. You have to win 50 games to be a championship contender in the NBA. And unless you look at the roster and say they are for certain going to win at least 50 games, then you have no chance of winning the NBA championship.
Look, I'm not even gonna front. I ran the simulator a couple times during the break. The Kings got the 9th pick, so they had dropped down. And then the next time I ran it, they got the 8th pick. So that is the 916's argument. You could stink that we just saw it with the Wizards, sure, but last season the Wizards got a top pick. They just stink so much you're not going to get a top 3 pick every single time. So I understand what you are saying. My retort, if you will, is the same thing that we've been talking about. Everything in the world could go right for the Kings, and they're losing in the second round. So what do we talk? We are pushing the inevitable, right? Boogie Cousins said it. He said, it felt like when the Kings finally got to the playoffs, they didn't know what to do. They didn't know what to do after that. They didn't know how to further their position in the West. So they just did nothing, right? That cute girl that you've been staring at, that you show up at the gym around the same time for the last 4 or 5 months, or you had a class with them, or you see them on, you guys don't, there's no BART out here. You see them on the bus or whatever, and at some point...
It's never happened to me. At
some point, you find yourself in a position to talk to them, or I guess you could just say the bar. I could keep it easier. At a restaurant, after you're getting your happy hour drink, and she actually walks over to you, and you're not prepared. You're not prepared because you never thought it was actually going to happen. So you ain't got no game. The Kings, all we got to do is get to the playoffs. All we got to do is get to the playoffs. You did that, and you didn't know what the hell to do next. And now the West is even harder. You did it in a West, in a year in the West where teams were injured, if we're keeping it 1,000. And now you have Kevin Durant on the Rockets. And I'm not trying to be negative Nancy here. The more I keep thinking about this and what the Kings are doing, and the idea that, hey, this is kind of a win-win situation. No, it's not. I mean, yeah, you can leave with the top 10 pick. The Kings have not dropped under 10 yet in the simulator, right? But that's them sitting as the 8th worst team in the league. So yeah, they could have, help me out, Kyle. They could have everybody is talking about the Mavericks. So they could have a Maverick season. That's the dream for people. And somebody brought up the Mavericks. The Mavericks didn't get to the playoffs. No. They got smacked by the Grizzlies.
But they won because by not going to the playoffs, they got Cooper Flag.
Right. But that's what I'm saying. You can't have it both ways. So having the let's get the vibes and have a nice first round run, that's not going to help.
You don't play the lottery game for one season. You play the lottery game for 5 years. You don't just say, oh, well, we're going to go get one player and now it's over. That's not how the real tanking works. And you shouldn't even pay attention to 1 year of lottery luck. You should just you can drive yourself crazy with the probabilities and the possibilities of what could be, because if they end up the 12 seed 4 years in a row, guess what? You've got a 25% chance every year at getting a top 4 pick. And odds are you will get at least one top 4 pick. And what? Then you've got a bunch of young players, maybe one guy who could be an all-star, and a chance to then go back to the first round, second round. You have to get one of the top 10 players in the sport if you're going to be a top 10 team in the sport. It is that simple. And they were pretty close with having 2 of the top 20 players in the sport 2 years ago. But even that, you saw the difference. It only led to one playoff run and what would have been a second, probably first round exit the following season.
530, this is one of the funnier texts I've ever seen. Love you, Allen, but you sound like such a loser, man. You crying like all the other Kings fans who didn't watch 15 years of the worst basketball. And there's a lot, and it's all broken up, so I won't try to read through it, but you get the point. Imagine a team should lose games on purpose, but that's not me. Y'all lame. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying don't get in your own way. I'm saying let Keegan Murray develop. And if you stink, you stink. I'm saying let Keegan Murray, Keon Ellis. Let me ask you this, 530, and you can call in since you love me, but I sound like a loser. You can call in. Let me ask you this. How good do you think this is going to be? How good do you think this team could be? Because you're saying anyone can win it. Okay. Kyle, who's the last team to miss the playoffs one season and, I don't know, get to the second round? It's been a lot of the same teams, but not the East. Screw the East. This is tough because the Kings have already been out of the playoffs for 2 years and have very little to show for it. So I got nothing for you. It's not me. Look, I sat here, and if 5-3-0, like I said, call in, man. I sat here and I rode for the Kings the last 2 seasons I've been here. 2, I said I got laughed at by other hosts at this station when I said, coming off to the Beam Team season, I thought the Kings would be top 3. They missed the playoffs. They lost to Zion. They didn't lose to Zion. Zion didn't play. The next season cooled off the expectations. I liked DeRozan. I said they'd win 50 games. And they didn't. They didn't get close. So miss me with the loser talk. I tried to ride for the Kings. And they didn't do squat. So we're going to, and someone, that's not the definition of insanity. Whatever. They're doing the same thing. And look, I would gladly be wrong. I'm just basing it on what Vegas would be and what Vegas is saying, what other sites are saying. Last season, I sat up here with my whole chest, and I said the Kings are winning 50. They're getting the 6th seed. Damn it, they're getting the 5th seed. So don't even come at me like that. You've watched it for 15 years? Cool, whatever. I watched it for 2, and I've seen enough. That's all I need. But call in, though. 916-339-1140. You know the number if you've been listening. When we return, we will get to the John Elmore. I got to chill out. John Elmore, Mason Jones, are they good as gatekeepers for our young Sacramento Kings? Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hi, Zoe Saldana. Welcome to T-Mobile. Here's your new iPhone 16 Pro on us.
Thanks. And here's my old phone to trade in.
You don't need a trade-in. When you switch to T-Mobile, we'll give you a new iPhone 16 Pro. Plus, we'll help you pay off your old phone up to $800, and you still get to keep it.
There's always a trade-in.
Not right now at T-Mobile.
I feel like I have to give you something in return for karma.
That's okay.
I don't really have much in my purse. Oh, let's see. Hand sanitizer. It's lavender.
I'm good. Seriously.
Let me check this pocket. Oh, mints?
Really, I'm fine.
Oh, I have raisins. I'm a mom. Wait 1 sec. I've got cupcakes in the car.
It's our best iPhone offer ever. Switch to T-Mobile. Get a new iPhone 16 Pro with Apple Intelligence on us. No trade-in needed. We'll even pay off your phone up to $800.
With 24 monthly bill credits, new line, $100 plus a month on experience beyond finance agreement, $999.99 and qualifying credit. For well qualified plus tax and $10 connection charge. Pay off via virtual prepaid card below 15 days. Credits end and balance due if you pay off early or cancel. See T-Mobile.com.
Ooh, ma. What was that? That is business phone bliss with the Ooma Cloud phone system. It handles all our voice, video, and messaging needs.
You sound very
calm. I am. Ooma has everything I need to run my business more efficiently, like virtual receptionist, call routing, and video conferencing. And it starts at just $19.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees.
Ooma.
Nice. Find your business comm at ooma.com/radio.
This message comes from Viking, committed to exploring the world in comfort. Journey through the heart of Europe on an elegant Viking longship with thoughtful service, destination-focused dining, and cultural enrichment on board and on shore. With small ships that bring travelers closer to the destination, there's more time to explore. And every Viking voyage is all-inclusive, with no children and no casinos. Discover more at Viking.com.
Carmichael Dave here for my friends at American Energy Heating and Air. Yes, I always tell you they are a family-owned operation, been in business since 81, A-plus Better Business Bureau, but it is hot. We are in those Sacramento hot months. I want to focus on them being your second opinion partner. What does that mean? Maybe you've got somebody you're working with or you've worked with in the past in the HVAC world. Guess what? They want to give you a second opinion. How much does it cost? Nothing. You call them up and say, hey, can I get a second opinion on this deal? They come out and they either say, wow, that's a great deal. You should feel better about that. Or they say, we can beat that price. And usually they're going to beat it by a lot. Guess what? You just saved money and it didn't cost you anything to find out. It's a no-lose situation. Go with a trusted company. American Energy, 916-520-9990. That's 916-520-9990 or AmericanEnergyAir.com. Jingle singers, take it away.
Call 916-520
$99.98 now. At Power Business Technology, we're not another big box corporation. We're your neighbors, locally owned and operated. We know what businesses like yours need, from reliable printers to high-performance copiers. We'll help you find the right solution with personal service you just can't get online. Need setup or support? We're just down the road and always happy to help. Power Business Technology, family hometown service with big-time solutions. Contact us today for all your business printing needs at 844-POWER-BZ. That's 844-769-3729, or visit us at powercopiers.com.
At Kids Care Dental and Orthodontics, we're all about summer smiles. During July, we're having our Summer Smiles special with $300 off braces or Invisalign with no money down if you start treatment in July. And you'll have a chance to win Legoland tickets. Go to kidscaredental.com for more information.
Allen Stiles
You can join the show by texting 916-339-1140
on Sacktown Sports.
Shout out to 530. They say they're in the office so they can't call in. And they said, LOL. We're having a good time, man. And I appreciate all of you. 916-339-1140 if you do want to be a part of the conversation. Ken on the Sack chat is basically saying, hey, I've seen, and let me close with this. So Ken Home on the Sack chat is saying, hey, we've seen enough losing. I would very much welcome a random second round run. I have absolutely no problem with Ken's stance, right? Hey, I don't really care about the future. We've seen the lottery thing not work out. If you ask Carmichael Dave, they haven't tanked properly. But we've seen the lottery thing. We've tried the lottery thing. We've stunk for so long. I don't care about building for a championship and taking 5 years, whatever, which that's not perfect either. Look at the Blazers and the Wizards. It takes a long time. I just want to see a second round series. I'll sell all that for a second round series this upcoming season. Let me say, as clear as day, I am completely good with that, Ken. I have absolutely no problem with that. My problem is the Kings trying to sell a different product. Very similar to how I was joking about Devin Booker getting the bag, and then he's going to try to tell us he's going to be there till 2030. And he's going to try to tell us how much he cares about winning, because that's what athletes do, because athletes can't sit there and say, honestly, I live a really good life. I'm in the 1%. I haven't thought about money in 20 years. I live a really good life. The ring would be cool, but I like driving around my lowrider. I like to release 8,000 colorways of my Booker ones. I like Phoenix. Everybody loves me. I'm getting a statue. We went to the finals. We got close. I'm taking the money. I don't need to force my way. Just like Dame Lillard. Same idea. I don't need to go to Milwaukee and force something. I'm just going to chill. I think Dame wanted to chill. I've said for years, I think Dame got forced into all right, I got to try to compete thing. Dame didn't want to leave Portland. He could rap on the side. He could just kick it. Devin Booker, man, I get to do my thing. I'm the king of Arizona. The king of Arizona. Okay? But they can't tell us that. So the Kings trying to sell us sustainable success as we all have eyeballs and we're all looking at the landscape of the Western Conference, that's my problem. If they sat up there and said, hey, man, we just trying to get to the playoffs. We know y'all haven't seen the playoffs in a really long time, and we're just trying to do our best. We don't want to tank. We want to do our best to get to the playoffs and see what happens. Every year, it's because this is how they act. This is how they behave. Every year is a one-off year. They fired Mike Brown, who's in New York now, because one year he was good. The next year he was okay. And they did not care that he was coach of the year. They did not care that Monty McNair was GM of the year. It's a what is it? An anthology series? Is that what it's called? Is that it? I think that's the right term.
Are you talking about like those Twilight Zone things?
Yes, like Black Mirror. Every episode is different. One has nothing to do with the other. So this season, the Kings are trying to we know that, right? They think that they're going to get hot, get to the second round, and that's cool. But we don't have to do that. We can't talk about sustainable success when everybody's over 30. So I have no problem with what Ken is saying. That makes it better for my life. More of y'all care when the Kings are good. I know that for a fact. But we don't have to do this dance and discuss whether or not they're setting themselves up for sustainable success. That's my issue. And I know they can't say that. They're not going to say that, but sustainable success, but you signed Dennis Schroeder for 3 years. And look, we will see what happens next season. That's what I keep saying. So I'm a little riled up now. This whole thing was a 30-minute style espresso. But the idea where, they're going to make another move here and put themselves in a position to trick off a top 10 pick because they're going, and they get to the first round, whatever. It's more about what is your definition of quote unquote sustainable success, which is the question I've been asking the whole time before Dennis Schroeder, before any of that. Let's get to Pool Guy Mark. I have no clue what side of the fence Pool Guy Mark is going to be on. Truthfully, I don't know what side of the fence I'm even on. What's up, Pool Guy Mark? What you got for us?
I'm just digging the show. I mean, I feel your frustration. I think it's the frustration of a lot of fans. It's like, I've been around since the beginning, and I mean, it was hard to be a part of these teams that just had no chance whatsoever, and just stunk. But, it was like they were new to the city. Now it's 40 years later, and it feels like we're dealing with a management ownership that just likes the middle road, and it's incomprehensible. Like you said, these 30-year-old guys, what team builds around 30-year-old dudes that really haven't shown they can do anything in the playoffs, right. And you have this young core that's just kind of wilting away. It's really frustrating. I wish someone would come and I've never seen the fan base so pissed off about a team that's, a 50-50 team. Mm-hmm. It's really interesting. So I'm definitely on the side of the fence for like, hey, you have these young guys. You're not going anywhere with the old guys, so let's see what you got.
Yeah.
That's not tanking. That's building your team up. And then, maybe these dudes will surprise. You're not going anywhere.
Right. Yes. Thanks for the call, Pool Guy Mark. And I guess, look, an optimistic Allen, you know how it goes if you've been listening to the show long enough. The 10 o'clock hour, optimistic Allen normally shows up around the 11 o'clock hour, and he's starting to creep up as this hour has flown by. I'm trying to figure out how everybody wins, right? And this is the way I believe everybody wins. And help me out, Kyle, with how the draft fully works and things like that. So how everybody wins is the Kings. The Kings are the 10th seed, right?
Sure.
The Kings are the 10th seed. They sneak in like the Heat. They get to which would mean, they can't put them as a 10th seed because they'd have the Thunder. But somehow, some way, the Kings are the 8th seed. They get to they're still facing the Thunder, the 7th seed, and then they get Kevin Durant and the Rock. They get to the second round somehow.
You're saying last year?
This year. The
season that just happened, or the one
that's about to happen?
Okay.
So they're the 7th seed. They get in through the play-in. They're the 7th seed. They play, they get to the second round, and then because they've made the playoffs now, they would be out of the lottery, right?
Yeah.
So now they're out of the lottery, but we got to the second round. They get the 12th pick, 13th pick, and they hit.
You're saying the top pick?
I'm saying
they just hit on 12 or 13?
Because that's what they would have because they made the playoffs.
Wait. You're saying they're the 10 seed, but they make the playoffs?
Yes, a lower seed, but they're the 7th seed. Call them the 7th seed.
Well, then they would have pick 18 in the draft.
There's just no way to.
So the only way you're in the lottery is if you miss the playoffs.
I understand that. I'm saying the best pick they can get while making the playoffs.
15.
What are we talking about?
Do we want
and
to?
Then they hit on 15.
Do we want to pull up the list of 15th picks in the draft for next segment?
I mean, I guess the argument is, well, Alan, you sound mighty excited about the 26th pick in Nee Clifford. So maybe I would convince myself, don't get me wrong.
You know who's been the 15 pick in the last 20 years? Kawhi Leonard, Giannis Antetokounmpo. Third on that list might be Corey Kispert, but still, you got Giannis and Kawhi Leonard.
Hey, you know what? Make the play. We flipped this whole thing in an hour. It's time to make the playoffs, Sacramento Kings. 916-339-1140. We'll get to JR and Mitch after the break. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
This summer, the heat keeps coming on the Sacktown Sports Live events calendar. Kicking off when Third Eye Blind and Neon Trees light up the stage on July 25th at the venue at Thunder Valley. Then head up to the lake for not one, but 2 nights with Old Dominion, August 1st and 2nd at the Lake Tahoe Amphitheater at Caesars Republic. And come right back up August 17th for Glass Animals. On August 21st, flash back to your favorite decade with Lost 80s Rewind featuring Flock of Seagulls at Thunder Valley Resort and Casino. Then get weird with the one and only Weird Al Yankovic live at the Lake Tahoe Amphitheater at Caesars Republic on August 24th. On August 29th, Japanese Breakfast takes the stage at the all-new Channel 24 music venue in downtown Sacramento. And don't miss the legendary Darius Rucker bringing the country heat to the Lake Tahoe Amphitheater at Caesars Republic on September 13th. For tickets and more details, keep it right here on Sacktown Sports or visit sacktownsports.com.
ZipRecruiter is the place. ZipRecruiter is the place for talented teachers, savvy software developers, and master mixologists. ZipRecruiter is the place where you meet all these people and more. That's because ZipRecruiter is the place for job seekers who are looking for new opportunities. In fact, ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day, so you can find the right candidates right away. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. No, we're not one of the big guys. Truth is, we don't want to be. If you're over 50, Big Wireless probably has you paying for more data than you might need. You could be throwing away thousands over a lifetime. We're not here to be the biggest. We're here to bring you something we believe is better. Our plans start at just $20. You'll get the same fast nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com/facts. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
Did you know about 1/3 of our lives is spent sleeping? Hi, this is Franklin Rosa with a word about Naturewood Home Furnishings. If we're going to spend that much time in our bedrooms, then our bedrooms ought to reflect our personalities. I remember many weekend mornings when our kids would jump into our beds trying to coax us to start our days more on their schedules than ours. Naturewood Home Furnishings' huge bedroom sale is here, and there's no better time to find the perfect accent piece for your bedroom, or even better, to start fresh by designing your bedroom to fit your lifestyle. From a new mattress and foundation to dressers to nightstands to lamps and more. Naturewood Home Furnishings will help you create a space from simple to luxurious and anything in between. Just drop by and let Naturewood's team help you envision a bedroom fit for 1/3 of your life. Visit Naturewood Home Furnishings right now for this remarkable bedroom sale. Off Highway 50 at Hazel, look for the water reel.
I'm Ken Korak with your Green and Gold Report, brought to you by Comcast Business, powering possibilities. Well, the story of Brent Rooker keeps getting better and better. Not long ago, he was with 3 different organizations before becoming a waiver claim by the A's. And now he's on pace for his 3rd straight 30-homer season. And when the best players in baseball gather in Atlanta on the 15th, Rooker will take part in his 2nd All-Star game in the last 3 years. Comcast Business helps turn today's small businesses into engines of modern business. It's how restaurants become reliably up and running neighborhood favorites. It's how retailers become seamlessly restocking, cyber-securing must-visit shops. And it's how healthcare offices become data-managing caregivers that we all depend on. With reliable connectivity, enhanced cybersecurity, advanced fiber solutions, and Wi-Fi backup, Comcast Business is powering the engine of modern business.
KHD1 Sacramento, KYMX HD3 Sacramento. From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios.
This is Sacktown Sports 1140. Live and local.
It's Allen Stiles
on Sacktown Sports.
11 o'clock hour, the 1 o'clock, the 10 o'clock hour, 1 hour down, 3 to go. The 10 o'clock hour Fastest hour, I'm not even kidding. That was legitimately a blur. A lot of times we were just talking to our boss about hitting our brakes, hashtag no Carmichael Dave, and it's normally not a problem. But that hour flew by so quick, Kyle had to tell me to go to break twice.
You were on one right there.
I was.
I'm disappointed. I can't find my Style Espresso button.
You gotta be. You just never know.
It was all an hour of Style Espresso.
You never know. That's right. You know how the kids say he got bills? He was rapping like bills were due. You know that whole thing. He's playing like the bills are due. Maybe it's because we had a baby appointment today, and I saw number 2, saw the feet, everything, and she's almost here. Bills are due.
You're feeling spicy today?
I'll do a radio show like the bills are due
every day.
Because number 2, my wife's like, oh yeah, after like the 30th week, I mean, anything could happen. What week are we on? 31.
Ooh.
I beg your pardon.
This is going to be fun. I want you to know that I have cleared my schedule for all of July and August in preparation that you might leave at any point.
Yeah, I haven't even done that. We were just sitting watching Bachelor in Paradise yesterday. I could come like anytime. Like she's like, yeah, basically the baby's just gaining weight now, but she could show up at any point.
And here you are arguing at TSA about your passport.
Excuse me. 3 hours coming up with you, and we were discussing what the Kings are ultimately doing, man. And look, we'll have optimistic Allen. He makes an appearance normally later in the show. Yeah, I was probably pessimistic Allen to start the show, but I'm just looking at these numbers. But really, it wasn't pessimistic Allen, because I'm just looking at Tankathon saying this could be us, but you playing. This could be our life.
Well, I think the other thing is this could be us one time in the next 4 years, right? It doesn't have to be this year, but this could be us anytime in the next 4 years as we get the next, I don't know, Cooper Flagg or Anthony Edwards.
I'm just saying at some point, like I said, it's just like my passport and my ID with no bear. I don't have the real ID. You're going to have to do it at some point. If you want to play with the big boys, this is what you got to do.
Well, you have to find one of the stars of the sport, which is the easiest way to do it is to land the number 1 pick in a year of a generational talent. We went through it before, like in the last, I think since Zion was drafted, there's been like 16 all-star players that have been drafted in the last 6 years, and like 5 of them were the number 1 pick in the draft. So that's your best probability chance.
Jared Williams says it's just difficult to judge the West when the difference between the 9 seed and the 3 seed is only separated by a couple games every year. But Jared, that's not really the case though. That was 3 through like 7 or 8, but then don't try to sneak the 9 in there, Jared.
The gap between 8 and 9 last year was the same as the gap between
3 and 8.
No, it was 2.
Yeah.
It was way more than that. I think so. The Grizzlies were at 48. I don't remember the Rockets.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
It was way more than
that. Jared, don't try to sneak the 9 in there. We watched, Jared. You can't sneak the 9 in there. Great stuff. As we wanted to hear, everybody was really excited because Dylan Cardwell brought up Quincy AC and how he wants to have that type of role. Charlie Boltman on social media, he said this though, and Kyle will probably get a kick out of it. I'm kind of glad Mason Jones is playing gatekeeper in these summer league practices. If you can't beat out Mason Jones, deuces. Best of luck in Europe. Now, that's not really how this thing is going, but maybe there is a level of, I don't think it's as cut and dry as that, especially when you're on the same team. But there's probably a level of, hey, this is the equivalent of a 4A guy in baseball. A 4A guy is a guy who gets to AAA, and every time they go to the big leagues, they just can't figure it out. So Mason Jones has kind of been that. But I don't think that any of these rookies need to be better than Mason Jones right now. That's the argument I would say. They need to be better than Mason Jones at some point, but I don't think it's as simple as, oh man, Mason Jones played better than Nick Clifford at Summer League, so Mason Jones is going to get that spot and Nick Clifford isn't. I don't think that's how it's going to work. It's not how it's going to work. Or Devin, you could throw Devin Carter in there too.
Okay, so here's why I'm less upset about Mason Jones than John Elmore.
I didn't even bring up John Elmore.
I know, but you were saying I would get a kick out of it because I've been on my soapbox all week about why is John Elmore on the Summer League team when he's not even going to be on the Stockton Kings next year.
I know.
Where Mason Jones, I think, is fine is that 80% of this team, if they choose to, will be on the Stockton Kings next year, right? If Isaiah Crawford decides to stay, he'll be on the Stockton Kings. All of those undrafted guys could either go to Europe or Australia or Asia instead of playing for the Stockton Kings. But if they so choose, outside of Devin, Isaac Jones, Nick Clifford, and Maxime Reynaud, all the rest of those guys are the Stockton Kings next season if they choose to. So I understand Mason being there because Mason is probably going to be on a two-way contract and on the Stockton Kings next season. So that makes sense. They're prioritizing his development as the leader of the Stockton Kings. That makes sense for him to be on the team because all of these players who don't make the team have the chance to be teammates on the G League team.
Right, but I think it's more so about the idea of Mason Jones is kind of the line. And I don't think it's as cut and dry as you're not better. You have to be this tall to ride the ride. If you're not better than Mason Jones, you can't be on the roster. I thought it was, I just thought it was funny because I never thought of it like that.
No, it is great because they already gave the second two-way contract to Isaiah Stevens. Mm-hmm. So there's only one left.
Yeah.
There's one open roster spot, obviously, but they're not going to give any of these people an open roster spot.
Right.
They're all competing for one spot.
Yeah.
And right now it's Mason Jones because Mason Jones was the two-way guy last year. So it is literally, if you can knock Mason Jones off the pedestal, you can have the last two-way spot. And honestly, that's not going to probably get decided right now. That's probably going to get decided at training camp.
Right, right.
But,
so let's hear from Dylan Cardwell and Chris Watkins, who's going to be on the show in a little less than an hour, went a bit viral with the Dylan Cardwell sound as he brought up Kings great Quincy Acee, and a lot of people were having fun and liked that Dylan Cardwell. He knew his Kings history. Here it is.
Just energy, man. Just keep being an energy guy. My role is energy, rebounding, and defense, toughness and physicality. And I try to be the Ben Walls of this team. And so I'm a big fan of Quincy Acee. You know, Quincy Acee is Sacramento King legend in my eyes. You know what I'm saying? So I try to fill that role. That's my role. And then as far as my development goes, just obviously offensive scoring and free throws. So yeah.
There you have it. A lot of people were excited that Dylan Cardwell knew his Sacramento Kings history. And look, this is a guy who kind of a defensive dude, defensive-minded player out of Auburn. So he was on that stretch. They had a great March Madness run. This is somebody that we haven't talked about a ton. He's 23 years old. We know what Scott Perry's type is when it comes to these drafts. I don't know if they got anybody under 22. I know definitely not under 22. So he's somebody that I'm excited to watch. As optimistic Allen creeps back, I will say this. I haven't been this excited for Summer League, specifically for the Sacramento Kings in a very long time. There are a ton of storylines to kind of sift through. Obviously, I think the headlining storyline is Devin Carter to me. You know, I don't think it's Nick Clifford. Devin Carter, because again, you have certain expectations. You were an older rookie, and now you're coming back to Summer League. You're supposed to look like you're rehabbing, right? You're supposed to look like I'm not supposed to be here. And that's a tall order. So I think the number one story, a lot of people are saying nobody's talking about Devin Carter. I think that's especially with this Kuminga stuff, that's the number one thing people are talking about. So Devin Carter, that's the number one storyline to me. Honestly, selfishly, Maxime Reynaud is the second, because that's just an archetype that I know we can throw is he Dario Saric or whatever. Maxime Reynaud is the second storyline for me, and Nick Clifford is the third in that order. That's that's the order of my excitement, and that's the order of my storylines. You could flip Nick Clifford and Maxime Reynaud, but whenever did you actually get the sleeper guy, right? Everyone thinks, hey, someone got the sleeper guy. Kings may have gotten 2 sleeper guys. Last season, we got a bunch of sleepers. Okay, everybody's asleep. All the sleepers. Devin Carter was a sleeper, 13th pick. Nick Clifford, oh man, Swiss Army sleeper. Okay, with 26th pick. Oh, Maxime Reynaud, he's supposed to go first pick in the second round. Now he's a sleeper. He could have won in the first round. Now he's a sleeper. So who is actually going to hit out of the sleepers? So that's the overarching storyline.
So other than him just being your guy, why specifically do you feel Maxime Reynaud is a more interesting storyline at Summer League than Nick Clifford? Because both are probably going to be contributors on the team next year.
Nick Clifford, if I'm being honest, it kind of just ties back into Devin Carter. I guess you could say that battle is more interesting than Maxime Reynaud, but I'm owning it. I just want to see Maxime do every time I look up, he's doing that windmill dunk. He loves that windmill dunk. I saw they posted a hype video and I reposted it. They got that. He loves that windmill dunk.
All you want is a windmill dunk today.
We're going to see it quickly. Shout out, no Emmanuel, even though we were talking Raptors yesterday. 916-339-1140. Let's get to JR. Wants to be part of the conversation. What's up, JR? What you got for us?
Hey. Spicy Styles or Analytic Allen.
I know.
You're all over the map, big boy. I'll tell you. And by the way, 1 and 1 does not equal 2 as a man with 2 kids.
Oh, no.
The second one comes, and it is 3+ because it was like, okay, 1, I had focus. 2, where are you 2 running to? And I don't know what sex they are, but I mean, I had 2 boys, so it's like bear cubs just fighting all the time.
Well, I heard, but no, I'm gonna have another girl. But I heard that going 1 to 2 is easier than going 0 to 1. That's what I was told. Is that a lie?
Oh, they lied to you. No way. You put the baby seat in, you totally forget about the second one sitting on top of your roof. You're like, oh, damn, I forgot the
Fair enough.
And you're looking at one for a second, take your eyes off her like an ocean, and next thing you know, the other one's down the street chasing a dog or something. So, that's a lie.
Okay. All right. What you got? What you got for the Kings?
Okay, real quick. No, the money thing. When you were talking about what's his name in Arizona with all the money being the king of Phoenix and when and Bobby Bonilla money. I always think of the Bobby Bonilla money where he gets $1 million a year, and I'm like, we common folk have no idea. Oh yeah, that's right. I get that $1 million check this week. And so when they play, you have to keep that in perspective.
Yep.
You have to understand that. And yes, there's competitors and they want to win and all that. But I always laugh with the fans when they're like, oh, I wish that guy would play harder. Well, guess what? He gets to go home to his $1 billion home and he's going to be just fine while you cry about his, didn't get the double-double you bet on or something. So I just laugh that we get torn up a little bit on their effort when we should scale back and realize, okay, they got a lot of money at home.
Yeah, it's funny, JR, and thanks for the call as always. With all this kind of father talk, my dad is he's in town, but he's driving up to Sacramento today, and that has been his take forever, right? When I was younger and I wasn't even getting paid for it, but getting real caught up in my fandom and things, and he would just say, Al, look at them, man. They're everybody jokes they're going to Cabo. That's why Draymond said, can you afford Cabo? Al, you guys are sitting here so upset, and they're just enjoying their millionaire lives. They're just enjoying their millionaire. He would tell me all the time. He's probably going to say it again today. 916-339-1140. Let's go to Mitch. Wants to be part of the conversation. What's up, Mitch? What you got for us?
My daughter have another son in the end of the year. So I'm going to have 2 boys.
Oh, congrats, Mitch.
Well, yeah, I'm a grandpa, but...
All right, Mitch. Congrats, though. You were...
Sorry, we couldn't hear him. We heard a little.
I heard 2 boys.
I think he was talking about his grandkids.
Oh, congrats either way.
Yeah, I think he was talking about his grandkids, but we couldn't really hear it.
Shout out, Mitch, as always. And yeah, that part of it though, that's not to disrespect anybody's fandom. It's more so to put things in perspective, right? When you're, I used to get angry, but that you got to chill, dude. And everybody fans differently. We don't police fandom, but yeah, I mean, this is a lot of money, and I think we are a bit numb to it. And you see the breakdown. I just saw the breakdown. I think they did it for Shea or whoever. He's making $2,000 a second. I hate that, by the way.
Or I think a minute.
I hate that.
I think it's also different because, like, there are probably a handful of Suns fans that are yelling the same things we're yelling about the Kings, about, like, they should just tear this all the way to the ground and get their picks back in a Booker trade and blah, blah, blah.
Right.
But
well, the Kings don't. They sold their Booker early.
Yeah,
that's because DeMontis Sabonis is not Booker.
They sold their Booker for Zach LaVine.
Yeah, they already sold their Booker.
Even besides that point, even though Devin Booker is probably a better player than De'Aaron Fox, it is kind of similar in the sense that, like, I don't think they're that mad with Devin Booker being there that long because he's the homegrown star who they've seen since he was putting up 70 points as a 19-year-old.
No. I don't think anybody's mad. I don't think anybody in Phoenix is mad. I don't think Suns fans are mad that they paid Booker. Obviously, Booker ain't mad. I don't think anybody's mad. I'm just saying, let's not pretend like Devin Booker, if there was a pie chart and everyone's saying, this is 80% loyalty, man. He just wants to win in Phoenix. Can we stop that?
Sure, but like, I guess my point more so is like if Domantas Sabonis, I know they're not the same player, but if Sabonis signed a 2-year extension tomorrow, not even for that amount of money, I think just the concept of a 2-year extension for Sabonis, I don't think there would be the same overt enthusiasm in Sacramento as there would be for Devin Booker. And I think
because they went to a finals and Devin Booker has had 70 points.
And he's the homegrown guy.
Yes.
He's been there since he was 19 years old, which in that sense, I think it works out for everyone. I don't think, you can obviously still leave later. Dame left with like 4 years left on his Blazers contract, but I think everyone's just happy with this arrangement, right?
Yeah. I don't think there's going to be a lot of arguments as far as, we should have. I'll tell you this much. Like I said, I'm at a lot of one of my bigger TikToks, and I haven't seen one Suns fan said we should have moved on from Booker. That's just not what they're going to do. Now, Kyler Murray, we'll have a different conversation about Kyler Murray. But
I've never seen a fan base hate their quarterback more than the Cardinals hate him.
He's playing Call of Duty somewhere right now. Look, man, getting back to the Kings and 916-339-1140, the best case scenario, as we've laid out, is you get the 14th, 15th, you get the second round that you've so desired, and you get the 14th, 15th pick, and you hit. It's that simple. And, if I'm sitting here being that excited about Nick Clifford, the 26th overall pick, and Maxime Reynaud, then maybe some of the texters and sack chatters are on to something. Maybe it's, hey man, you own your own first rounder. It's a deep draft. They're not going to be in a bad spot. We should at least win. I just don't see them doing that. Is probably my larger argument. So you're not going to get 14, 15. You're also not going to get a playoff run, and you might find yourself teetering there, right? Because if they lose in the play-in, that doesn't really matter. It just goes to record. And if that record, because if you look at it here, Kyle, we were talking about this during the break, how things change based on you battling it out with other teams as far as how bad you are. The Kings, based on Tankathon, have the 8th worst. They believe they'll have the 8th worst record. If they drop to 9th, as far as New Orleans is concerned, they go from 26.3% chance to win the lottery. They drop 6%. They drop to 20.3. So I know it sounds silly in a way, but that type of stuff matters. And you go down to, if you are the next, and I know this math isn't perfect, but if you are that next Western Conference team, because it's Toronto after that, then Miami, it's the Memphis Grizzlies who have a 7.1% chance to win the lottery. So this stuff matters. Every game matters whether you're winning or losing.
Yes, but where I struggle with it as someone who is a nerd and loves the lottery and loves the numbers, the best strategy, though, is to stack lotteries on top of each other, right? Because playing entire seasons for 7% chances in the lottery is really kind of depressing, because then you get to the lottery and realize, oh, a 7% chance is basically 1 in 14.
And I think that's a great point, because this isn't just this is Sacramento Kings flagship home of your Sacramento Kings. Don't get me wrong. But if we wanted to have a Grizzlies conversation, it's pretty similar, right? They got KCP, who we'll see if he remembers how to shoot, but they moved off of Desmond Bane. I would say Triple J, Jaren Jackson Jr. is their guy who they're more so refusing to move than Ja. They've kind of come out and said, no, Ja's our guy, but the Grizzlies aren't doing anything. The Grizzlies, I think, and Tankathon thinks too, they'll be better based on this math. They'll maybe they'll be in the play-in, I believe, based on this math. But the Grizzlies aren't winning anything. It's the same idea.
I think the Grizzlies right now are, this is going to be a weird way to phrase it because they're a little bit younger. The Grizzlies are where Sacramento was when they fired Mike Brown, which is, hey, things aren't going great and we've kind of lost value in some places, but we have not compromised our future at all. We have all of our future draft picks. So if we want to tank, we don't have to worry. We've got all of our future draft picks. We have 2 franchise cornerstones that we could flip for a ton of draft picks, right, and a play-in caliber team, right?
Yes.
So I feel like they're kind of in that situation where the Kings messed up in selling so low on De'Aaron Fox, the Grizzlies have a chance to potentially not do that, or play the game of, we're going to try and get back to the 8 seed again next year because this is Memphis, and do you know how many years we had to spend losing to get to this point?
Well, and I think that's the big part of this, right? The difference between, they're similar. I think obviously the Grizzlies are better, but the difference is the Grizzlies are, from their tanking, the Grizzlies are still trying to prove that they didn't tank for no reason, because they got the 2nd overall pick in Ja, and they got the 4th overall pick with Jaren Jackson Jr. The Kings, they're trying to sell that the mistakes that they've made aren't actually that bad of mistakes, because they don't have any cornerstones, because Keegan is off the table as of right now, but they don't have anybody where they're, hey, no, we've done so much. Their whole thing is, oh, we still want to prove to people that we didn't lose the Halliburton trade with Domantas Sabonis, which is why they might not move Domantas Sabonis. But their indifference, to your point, the Kings still had De'Aaron Fox at that moment, and then they decided to move off of him, and now where Zach LaVine fits, who really knows? The Grizzlies are still trying to prove, no, we didn't tank for no reason. The Kings, their hybrid tanking that they've been doing these last couple of years, they don't necessarily have to prove anything to anyone. They're just trying to prove that they didn't raise prices on the tickets for no reason. Let's hear what ESPN has to say as they have tiered the Western Conference teams. And some of these tiers make sense and some of them don't. Where do the Kings lie? Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
Sacramento weather is brought to you by Fidium Fiber.
I'm Tamara Berg in the KCRA 3 Weather Center for your Thursday. It's going to get hot out there. Take pleasure in the morning when it's comfortable. We'll have hazy sunshine with a light north breeze this afternoon and temperatures in the range of 100 to 104 across the valley. Get the latest forecast on the KCRA 3 News and the KCRA 3 app.
It's about time they
fix that pothole.
Invented better windshield wipers.
Made an internet that just works. Fidium Fiber Internet, starting at only $30 a month. It feels like Fidium. Offer available to residential customers only. Terms and conditions apply. See Fidium.com for details.
At Fisher Investments, we may seem like other money managers, but we're different.
Are you really that different than the rest of us?
We are. As a fiduciary, we always focus on what's best for our clients.
What services do you offer besides investing?
We have a team of specialists in financial planning, estate planning, and more.
Your clients rely on you for all that?
Yes, we ensure clients receive unparalleled service at every step of the relationship.
Okay, but you still sell commission-based products, right?
No, because we believe that's a conflict of interest. We prioritize service over sales goals.
So then how do your fees work?
We have a simple and transparent fee that's a percentage of our clients' portfolios.
So we do better when our clients do better.
Wow, we're more different than I thought.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at fisherinvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Staples presents That Was Easy.
Seems like back to school happens earlier each year.
First day of school coming in hot.
And this year, my kids had massive supply lists.
Folders, notebooks, and pens. Oh, the humanity.
But Staples had everything I needed, with some items just 25 cents.
Watch the small print.
No. My back to school budget was saved by Staples Easy Button.
Everything for school, in stock and as low as 25 cents. Staples.
That was easy.
In store, online, and on the app. In 23 while supplies last.
ZipRecruiter is the place. ZipRecruiter is the place for talented teachers, savvy software developers, and master mixologists. ZipRecruiter is the place where you meet all these people and more. That's because ZipRecruiter is the place for job seekers who are looking for new opportunities. In fact, ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day, so you can find the right candidates right away. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ziprecruiter.com/free. That's ziprecruiter.com/free.
Get ready for a night out with Jordan Davis. It's Country in the Park 2, Saturday, September 13th at Cal Expo. Along with the special guests, Mitchell Tenpenny, Locash, Vincent Mason, and Averyana. Make it a family day out with food trucks, games, dancing, and more. Saturday, September 13th at Cal Expo.
Sponsored by Tricks Racing Canes, Chicken Fingers, and Naturewood Home Furnishings. Tickets at catpfest.com. Get ready to leap tall buildings in a single bound as DC Comics' Superman, the IMAX experience, flies onto the Esquire IMAX Theater 6-story screen in downtown Sacramento.
No matter what you do to me, Luther, your plans won't work.
The Man of Steel is back. It's the beginning of a whole new adventure for Clark Kent. Grab the family and experience Superman's new epic adventure filled with hope. Get your reserved seats today at IMAX.com/Sacramento.
Hey, buddy. Eyes up here.
Superman, the IMAX experience, playing this week on the largest screen in Sacramento, the Esquire IMAX Theater.
What's up? We're talking to Chad Hobbit, a Hobbit Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Woodland. What's happening for the Hobbit Employee Pricing Plus sales event?
Right now, you can get the family wherever you need to get them. When you save up to $17,000 off MSRP on the new 2024 Jeep Grand Cherokee 4xEs. With the gas tax having gone up this month, that means you save even more at the pump with one of America's favorite hybrids.
What's happening at the giant Hobbit Certified Pre-Owned Supercenter?
Well, not only is Hobbit your one-stop shop for new Ram trucks, we are your pre-owned truck superstore. Right now, we have over 100 quality pre-owned trucks in stock. So whatever truck you're looking for, your perfect ride is waiting at Hobbit. Diesels, lifted trucks, 4x4s, Hemis, heavy duties. We have them all waiting for you.
Search, select, and save through our whole inventory, new and used, at hobbitdodge.com. Unbeatable prices, unbeatable selection, nobody beats Hobbit, period. 17,000 total net savings after 7,500 factory rebates and 9,500 dealer discounts. Rebates may include 2,500 2025 select inventory bonus cash, 500 first responder bonus cash for eligible first responders. Employee pricing for all included in dealer discount. VIN number 712-678. See dealer for details.
Allen Stiles. Watch the show on youtube.com/Sacktown Sports 1140.
Or listen on the Sacktown Sports app.
Chris Watkins will join us in 30 minutes. We're going to get to this ESPN article. This is by Zach Cram. And Zach says NBA free agency 2025, new West tiers after a flurry of moves. So they have certain tiers here. And just as a quick preview, they got young and hungry. They got ready to deny a repeat champ. They have what's the plan? And those are the main ones. So let me go through all of them. In tier 1, the clear-cut favorite, Oklahoma City Thunder. And they are the only one in that tier. Okay, so Oklahoma City Thunder, the clear-cut favorite. Tier 2, ready to deny a repeat champ. In that tier, they have the Houston Rockets, the Denver Nuggets, The Minnesota Timberwolves, I am just not that high on the Minnesota Timberwolves. I'm still not that high on the Minnesota Timberwolves.
Is that because of Anthony Edwards or because of...
I just think they need one more piece. I just think they're not beating the Thunder right now or the Rockets.
Yeah, well, I think they could beat the Rockets.
Yeah, I guess I got to see the Rockets, but they're not beating the Thunder.
What about they beat the Nuggets in the playoffs before. Let's not pretend like they're no slouches.
So that is tier 2. Tier 3, the old guard. The Clippers, the Lakers, the Golden State Warriors, and the Dallas Mavericks. So that one's got a lot of teams in it. And all the teams you'd expect, right? Clippers, Lakers, Warriors, and Mavericks.
There should just be a whole separate tier that's just Nico Harrison.
Yeah. The interesting one that I would say this team is fitting in, tier 4, young and hungry, the Memphis Grizzlies. Interesting. I guess they did get Ty Jerome as well. Memphis Grizzlies, the San Antonio Spurs, who we're going to talk about later, with Chris Watkins, whether he likes it or not, and De'Aaron Fox, and the Portland Trail Blazers.
Yes, I believe the Blazers are going to be the Rockets of
this is bad.
Last year.
This is getting bad. Tier 5, the last tier. This is the last tier, people. Tier 5. Sacramento Kings, the Phoenix Suns, the New Orleans Pelicans, and the Utah Jazz.
Yeah, I can't disagree.
This is crazy.
I mean, we talk so much about the Kings and fighting to get to the 8 seed. We could say the same thing about the Pelicans.
Well, I think the main thing here is that clearly not every... I guess the good thing is they're in a tier, right? Because I don't think the Wizards are even in a tier.
What? But isn't this just West teams?
Oh, that's right. That's right. The West. So they're at the bottom of the West.
Yeah. I was like, what are you talking about?
That's right. They're at the bottom of the West.
Well, yeah.
And if this is in order, at least they're at the top of tier 5.
So they believe in us more than the Pelicans, which I would too. I mean, the Pelicans, which big three would you rather have? Sabonis, DeMar DeRozan, and Zach LaVine, or Zion, Trey Murphy, and Jordan Poole?
Yeah, Sacramento Kings, then Phoenix Suns, then New Orleans Pelicans, then the Utah Jazz. Here's the write-up. In 1,121 possessions with Domantas Sabonis, DeMar DeRozan, and Zach LaVine sharing the floor last season, the Kings had an offensive rating of 117.4 per cleaning the glass. That's a solid mark, ranking in the 72nd percentile of all lineups league-wide. But in those same possessions, the Kings had 120.9 defensive rating, which ranked 11th in that percentile. The Kings have stars, and they're often entertaining, but they don't have a realistic path towards consistently winning games. Maybe they'd compete for a top 6 seed in the Eastern Conference, but they're not good enough in the West. It's pretty much it.
Yeah.
And I'm going to DM Zach now, try to get him on the show because that was great stuff. But
I see
it is what it is.
I see people also making the point, well, they're supposed to be the 12 seed. No, it's a little different because young and hungry teams won't necessarily make the leap. There's just a better chance because they are young, right? Portland, according to our over-unders, was supposed to be at like 32.5 next season.
Right.
But we all expect Portland to be a better team next year than they were last year just because of improvements from guys like Scoot or Donovan Klingon or Shaedon Sharpe, Tamani Kamara, like that. And then they obviously bring in Drew Holiday. You expect they're going to make some sort of steady improvement.
I'll just read the second paragraph for the Blazers. It's unclear whether the Simons-less Blazers have enough offensive juice to rise into the play-in ranks, and they'll be counting on Scoot Henderson and Shaedon Sharpe to show more growth in the backcourt. But for the team with the West's second longest playoff drought, only the Spurs is longer, things are looking up in Portland.
I would agree.
I want to look up. I want to look up in Sacramento. Why can't we look up?
Well, you got here too late. That's what 2023 was.
You got to look up for a second.
We got to look up at all those beams.
Yeah.
And now we're sad. Which, to this point, we can do the full list later, but I've kind of compiled a list of how long it takes teams to get back to where they were once they've started going down. And in most of these cases, yes, you have to go down. You either have to go down to go up, or you have to either have had an MVP or acquired an MVP somehow, which is, again, like the Clippers landing Kawhi. Okay, they didn't have to go down because they landed Kawhi and Paul George.
Yeah, and the Shea thing as well. Obviously, the Thunder thought he'd be pretty good. I don't even know if the Thunder, if you gave him a lie detector test, if they thought he'd be this, which there's no slight. They still thought he was going to be something, and that's what you do. Same with Jokic in the second round.
I mean, you can say that, though, but even with acquiring Shea, you know how long it took the Thunder to go from 48 wins to get back to 48 wins? 5 seasons. Took 5 seasons. Now, you could argue the Kings are already in year 3 of that process because they didn't get to 48 the last couple years.
But they're not doing the things that they need to be doing. They're signing Dennis Schroeder.
Yeah. Think about that. The Thunder, the golden example, the shining example of how this process works, it took them 5 years to go from being a 48-win team back to a 48-win
I know.
team.
And look at it this way. Took them 5 years. They got a smidge lucky with Shea ending up being an MVP, right? Then you get to the promised land, and you could have lost to a random Pacers team. You could have lost.
Sure, but like if the Kings are the random Pacers team, I think that would be the greatest season in Sacramento Kings history.
Oh, probably.
We'd be fine with that. Yeah. If they were the random Pacers team that got swept in the finals, it'd be the first trophy the franchise has won in 72 years.
I hear you. The Phoenix Suns, this is how Zach writes the Phoenix Suns. Expect the Suns, led by owner Matt Ishbia, to keep sacrificing the future to try to compete in the present, but don't expect too many actual wins for the New Orleans Pelicans. But with CJ McCollum and Brandon Ingram gone, DeJounte Murray out with a torn Achilles, there's also a lot of flux in New Orleans with no clear long-term plan to build a winning roster. Even in the short term, it's not as if the Pelicans were world beaters in their rare moments of health last season, as they finished 10-20 when Williamson played, with a minus 4.3 net rating when Williamson and Murphy shared the floor. And I'm just going to save everybody's time. I'm not going to read the Utah Jazz of it, but that's the situation. But this is what I'm saying, right? As I'm pessimistic, Allen is not making another appearance. I'm not saying that, but if everyone is saying something, there are moments. When is the last time? And I'm going to get more information at Summer League as long as I can get on the plane. But when is the last time just everybody in the basketball world has just been completely wrong? The best example, and we don't have to eliminate it if we want. We can keep it, fine. There's really one of them. It's I guess there was 2 last season, and one was just based on health. So one is the Clippers, right? I think people didn't expect the Lakers to be as good.
But they traded for Luka.
But they traded for Luka, so I'm not counting the Lakers. Well, one is the Clippers, and one is the Pistons, and at least the Pistons could say, well, yeah, we had a number one. The Pistons had a number 1 pick just waiting to kind of take that step. So outside of that, and, the basketball world, Vegas is all kind of connected based on what people expect. Outside of that, when is the last, what is the example to say, hey, everybody thinks the Kings are doing completely the wrong thing, but they're all wrong. They're all wrong. Everybody's wrong, right?
You know what's so stupid? You know what the answer is? It's the Beam Team. The 2023 Beam Team is that example. JJ Redick went on ESPN and called it basketball malpractice for them to trade Tyrese Halliburton for Domantas Sabonis.
But did JJ mean that as far as the team not working or the future, though?
I just don't think it matters. I think their over-under was set at 34.5 that season. They won 48, and Monty won Executive of the Year. Mike Brown won Coach of the Year. The organization won Team of the Year. Like, the shining example is what happened with the Beam Team, and that's what's so dumb about this entire process.
Yeah, and we saw, again, it's almost as if they haven't learned anything from last time, because shout out to my guy on Sac Chat, Ken. We could, and there are a lot of people out there that want this. We could get the second round. We can get to the second round. It's all good, right? But what happens next? What happens next? You've hit the ceiling. If a team you want to make the playoffs and not hit your ceiling, right? If the Kings' ceiling is second round and I wouldn't say mortgaged the future, but you've mortgaged your positioning of the future based on draft picks. If the Kings ceiling right now, everything goes right for the Kings is second round, and let's say they do it in 2025, 2026, we're all happy, we're all wearing our XXL T-shirts to bed, that happens, what happens next season? That's exactly, and I would say it's not the same as the Beam team, because at least you could say, oh, De'Aaron Fox is about to take a leap, Domantas Sabonis is about to take a leap, Keegan Murray is a young stud, he's 22, 23 years old. That is not even the case in this iteration of even if, everybody was wrong for a year, right? Everybody was wrong for a year. Everybody wasn't wrong as far as, and people aren't talking. Here's the other thing. Basketball circles do not talk about how teams operate as far as making a one-hitter being a flash in the pan in the playoffs. They don't talk like that. They're talking about what we hear Scott Perry talk about, sustainable success. All right, we're not going overtime this time. We are not going to miss our break because I am not Carmichael Dave. When we return, we continue the conversation. Jonas Valanciunas stuck in Denver. Is Giannis stuck in Milwaukee? Allen Stiles, Tech on Sports.
Aloha! Dreaming of sandy beaches and ocean breezes? JTV's Tropical Treasure Sweepstakes could make that dream come true. Enter for your chance to win a fabulous Hawaiian getaway for two with luxury accommodations, airfare, and spending cash. Plus, just for entering, get $30 off your next qualifying JTV purchase of at least $99 when you opt in for emails. Don't miss out. Visit jtv.com/sweeps and enter by August 3rd. JTV, where paradise awaits.
Paul's new drone startup just lost its most genius computer scientist.
We just lost our best genius to some new genius who's got a genius new idea. I'm going to have to find a new genius or two half geniuses and fast.
He needs a computer scientist that can keep his startup from falling down.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, it's easier for talented candidates to find it, which makes it easier for you to hire them. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
If you're 55 or older and into that whole saving money thing, T-Mobile has an exclusive phone and internet bundle just for you. Right now, get 2 unlimited phone lines plus 5G home internet for just $30 each per month with autopay, plus taxes and fees. And with 5G home internet, setup is easy with just one cord and no technician needed, which is great if you're also into that whole keeping it simple thing. Switch now and experience the best mobile network in the U.S. Visit your local store to start saving. T-Mobile, it's better over here.
Based on analysis by Ookla of speed test intelligence data Q4 2024 to Q1 2025, Ookla trademarks used under license. Unlimited on our network. Customers on voice plan may notice speeds lower than other customers and further reduction if using more than 50 gigs a month due to data prioritization. Video streams and SD on this plan. Home internet pricing after $20 a monthly bill credit plus $5 per line without autopay. Debit or bank account required. See 5G device coverage and access details at T-Mobile.com.
Hey everyone, it's Kyle Draper here. If you're in the market for a new car, let me tell you about my experience with Mercedes-Benz of Stockton. From the moment I walked into their state-of-the-art showroom, I knew I was making the right choice. There was no pressure from the sales staff, and if I'm being honest, I felt like a kid in a candy store. I settled on the all-electric EQS SUV, and let me tell you why. First of all, the comfort. After a long day at work, I actually look forward to being in my car. It has several different massage settings, including my favorite, hot relaxing back. Plus, the seat heating and cooling features are perfect for the hot summer or those chilly mornings. Mercedes-Benz has the reputation of making the finest cars in the world. Now it's your turn to experience what I already know. Mercedes-Benz of Stockton is the best car buying experience you'll ever have. They're just a short drive down I-5, or you can shop online anytime at mbfstockton.com. That's mbfstockton.com, and tell them Drape sent you.
I'm Ken Korak with your Green and Gold Report, brought to you by Comcast Business, powering possibilities. Well, the story of Brent Rooker keeps getting better and better. Not long ago, he was with 3 different organizations before becoming a waiver claim by the A's. And now he's on pace for his 3rd straight 30-homer season. And when the best players in baseball gather in Atlanta on the 15th, Rooker will take part in his 2nd All-Star game in the last 3 years. Comcast Business helps turn today's small businesses into engines of modern business. It's how restaurants become reliably up and running neighborhood favorites. It's how retailers become seamlessly restocking, cyber-securing must-visit shops. And it's how healthcare offices become data-managing caregivers that we all depend on. With reliable connectivity, enhanced cybersecurity, advanced fiber solutions, and Wi-Fi backup, Comcast Business is powering the engine of modern business.
At Kids Care Dental and Orthodontics, we're all about summer smiles. During July, we're having our Summer Smiles special with $300 off braces or Invisalign with no money down if you start treatment in July. And you'll have a chance to win Legoland tickets. Go to kidscaredental.com for more information.
Allen Stiles
You can join the show by texting 916-339-1140
on Sacktown Sports.
Shabuzi dropped another one with Big X the plug, and the claps are back.
Is it
I'll send it to you.
Is it exactly like every Shabuzi song?
Yes.
Okay, he's not straying?
No, you'll have to come in here during the next break, and we'll play it. Those who've been listening to the show, we have a running joke. I love my guy Shabuzi. He's got to look, man, we talk about Book getting his money. Look, if you hit, right, if you do a TikTok, like I said, my TikTok is doing pretty well today. Now you figure out, okay, is this my recipe? Shabuzi's got his recipe. Hate it or love it, until people stop listening, he's going to keep doing the same thing.
I do agree with the idea of like artists can be, especially music, can be pretentious about like, oh, I'm going to be an artiste and I'm going to do different genres and styles and invent new things.
The growth.
Yeah, it's like I want to display my abilities. So I do think in that sense, you shouldn't bag on him for sticking to the classics, but at the same time, I've heard a lot of these songs. It's just all a bar song.
Yeah.
They're all just different, and they're not bad. I'm not the biggest Shabuzi person, but like the Jelly Roll song is pretty good.
Yeah.
Is it the Good News one that you showed me? That one's pretty good.
Wait. Oh yeah, that one wasn't Good News.
That was like, I need some.
Yeah, but this one you played wasn't.
No, this is the Jelly Roll one. That I think I have that clip somewhere. We spent like 30 minutes just laughing at how it's literally just every Shabuzi song.
So Chris Watkins, he just texted me. He said he might be a smidge tardy, but Chris Watkins joins us in about 10 minutes. And it seems like Jonas Valanciunas, much to his chagrin, will be joining the Denver Nuggets. All right, this came out yesterday from EuroHoops.net. Jonas Valanciunas is expected to stay with the Nuggets, passing on his offer from Greece. Well, it's funny to say it like that. This is Legion Hoops. It's not as if he didn't want to go to Greece. Denver believes, quote, time will heal him. Jokic has his backup. And the quote was just time will heal him. That's crazy.
That sounds like something.
Right.
That sounds like something the Death Star says.
Is he being tortured?
Time will heal him.
Yeah.
That's a crazy way to phrase that.
He just needs to be healed.
This is a player who you're in a partnership with. This is not.
I wish, and I'm turning to my father. I wish somebody. I'm just gonna do it. I wish somebody would give me $10 million to heal me. That's what he would say.
Yeah, that sounds like something Obi-Wan Kenobi says.
Yeah.
That's not.
Time will heal. Time will heal. So all of that is good now. The Kings weren't really on the hook anyway. I heard nothing about that. But this was basically the Nuggets saying, I don't know what you think this is, brother, but you're coming to Denver.
We are not letting you out of your contract.
You get your lungs right. Right. If you need if you need the thing that they'll have on the sidelines when the Broncos play, right? To get your breathing right.
You mean the oxygen mask?
Bring it. You are coming to Denver, my friend.
This is so interesting because I still want to know, like, were the Kings privy to that information? Like, did they talk to his agent and his agent was like, hey, we kind of want to go to Greece? Because the Kings totally salary dumped him. Like, they didn't get any asset. They didn't get any draft pick. It was just a straight, we don't want to pay his salary.
They got Dario.
Sure. They got 1 year
Kyle,
at $5 million of Dario.
Now you're confusing me now.
What?
Sometimes you talk about, yesterday, you're talking about, we don't, the point guard conversation. Well, you got Dario, and why do you need Chris Boucher? Now you don't even mention Dario in a Denver Nuggets conversation about the trade.
I have no idea if Dario is going to be traded to Golden State next week as a salary filler.
Right now, he's on the Kings.
Sure. And maybe if we get to training camp and they haven't signed Chris Boucher or Isaac Jones hasn't shot 36% on corner threes, then maybe we'll come back to Dario. But for the time being, he was just a salary filler. I don't think they made the trade thinking Dario Saric was making the team better than having Jonas Valanciunas.
No. I don't think so either, but you didn't even mention him.
Sure, but it was a salary dump. Denver did not want Saric and were willing to just give him away, and the Kings didn't get anything else in return, which made me think when I heard the Greece thing, maybe the Kings were privy to the information that he wasn't going to play at all, and so having Dario Saric is better than having nothing and having to buy out his contract.
No, I would agree, and not to get back into all of the MLEs and TPs and things like that, but at the time it was, okay, well, they didn't know if they were going to be able to do the sign and trade, so they would have had more money from dumping Jonas Valanciunas, yes. Which I don't believe that money then ended up getting used because they used the Kevin Huerter TP. And again, this is why fans, we don't need to get too in the weeds, but there was supposed to be a reason for why they did it, on top of the fact that Kyle was going to disrespect Dario Saric.
It was originally a precursor to giving Dennis Schroeder more than the TPE, yes. I'm sorry, not the TPE, the MLE, the DVD.
Is this ruining because, I'm really in the weeds on social media, but our fans just kind of sick. This is why I don't even like talking about it. There's plenty of places, and that's why I have Keith Smith or Bobby Marks on the show, or our guy Yossi Gozlan, because I don't want to talk about it. Well, I don't.
You know me, I'm an absolute dork and a nerd who has no friends, so I love this stuff. But
just give me a TI-89 calculator, which, by the way, I just got the update on my phone, and now they have essentially a TI-89 calculator on your phone. This is where we're at. But I don't care about this stuff, if I'm being honest with you. Just tell me how much money the Kings can spend.
First of all, I bring a calculator in my backpack every day for moments like this.
And a pencil sharpener?
No, don't have one of those. Mechanical pencil all the way. But to the point about them trading Valanciunas, it was originally to create space to give Schroeder more than the MLE, the C3PO, to give him more than that. But that ended up working itself out with the sign-in trade. So at the end of the day, it is a little confusing why they made that move, other than did they believe Jonas Valanciunas was going to leave to go to Greece and they would get nothing for him?
Just wait for a podcast. It'll come out. And this is the rare situation if and when it does come out, either way, you would have had like I said, I don't know how disgruntled he'd be playing with Domantas Sabonis. It's a story that we'll find out eventually. It's a chicken or the egg type of deal, but this could be a situation where the Kings actually made a correct move.
Which, to your point, you were the one who got made fun of a little bit for saying Valanciunas just got to sit in the corner and shoot threes all summer.
Yeah.
Dario Saric will sit in the corner and shoot threes better than Jonas Valanciunas.
Look, man, and don't sleep on Dario. He can pass the rock. He can do not sleep. Don't make me pull up the Dario Saric stats.
The Denver stats?
No, not those.
Not last year's stats.
Not last year, because they didn't use him properly.
It's
all Jokic's fault.
How is this flipped now? Yesterday, we did a whole segment that was very popular on YouTube. You should check it out, about how Dario Saric is not good enough to be the second stringer. And now all of a sudden, you're the Dario Saric guy.
No, if you go get Chris Boucher, but I'm not going to disrespect him and not mention him in a trade like you. That's what I'm not going to do. Look at my guy. Hold on now. Look at my guy.
I read these stats yesterday.
No, look at my guy now. 64 games for the Golden State Warriors. That's championship blood. They didn't win, but he was in the building with the banners.
Wait, I didn't even think about that. He was on the team that beat the Beam team in the playoffs. That was 23, right?
No, it was a year after. He was with OKC in 2023.
He was?
He was with Phoenix and OKC in 2023. Then he went to the Warriors in 2024. It was just one of those, hey, let's see if we can work. Then he 8 points a game, 4.4 rebounds per game, 2.3 assists.
Alan, the only stat I care about is 3-point percentage. What was his 3-point percentage?
Man, stop playing with my guy. Give me 37% on 3.1 threes per game.
If he can do that on the Kings, we don't need Chris Boucher.
And you need both. 12 o'clock hour coming up next. Chris Watkins joins the Allen Stiles Show on Sports.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
With Progressive's Name Your Price tool, you get coverage options based on how much you want to pay for car insurance. And then you decide how to spend the rest of your money, because you're in charge. Today, you're going to pay down your credit card bill. But you decide when you'll pay it. Before the due date, so those interest charges don't get you. But you decide if you pay it in full. But you definitely should, because again, interest charges. With Progressive's Name Your Price tool, we'll help you find coverage at a fair price. And then you're in charge. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Not available in all states. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? It seems impossible to find them. They have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go. And that place is ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. And because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter, you're missing out. So see what it's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
Power Business Technology is proud to be a 100% independent, locally owned and managed Toshiba copier dealer. Local ownership cuts out the red tape, allowing ourselves to never be too busy to personally answer the call when our clients need us. Recognized for excellence in service execution, training, and customer service, we're proud to be named a Toshiba ProMasters Elite Dealer since 2021. Contact us today for all of your business printing needs at 844-POWER-BZ. That's 844-769-3729, or visit us at powercopiers.com.
Did you know about 1/3 of our lives is spent sleeping? Hi, this is Frank LaRosa with a word about Naturewood Home Furnishings. If we're going to spend that much time in our bedrooms, then our bedrooms ought to reflect our personalities. I remember many weekend mornings when our kids would jump into our beds trying to coax us to start our days more on their schedules than ours. Naturewood Home Furnishings' huge bedroom sale is here, and there's no better time to find the perfect accent piece for your bedroom, or even better, to start fresh by designing your bedroom to fit your lifestyle. From a new mattress and foundation to dressers to nightstands to lamps and more. Naturewood Home Furnishings will help you create a space from simple to luxurious and anything in between. Just drop by and let Naturewood's team help you envision a bedroom fit for 1/3 of your life. Visit Naturewood Home Furnishings right now for this remarkable bedroom sale. Off Highway 50 at Hazel, look for the water wheel.
KHTK HD1 Sacramento, KYMX HD3 Sacramento.
From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios.
Sacktown Sports 1140.
Your home for Kings talk and so much more.
Live and local.
Allen Stiles on Sacktown Sports.
Chris Watkins joins us for the next hour. The talk of the town. Dylan Cardwell.
I was just listening to the song coming in.
There you go. This just reminds me of finally somebody in here who's close to my age. Yeah. Or Tony Hawk, pro skater.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I think they're coming out with a new one of those.
Are they?
Yeah.
So what's the deal? I'm not, you game a little bit, right? Would you say, what was your level of gaming?
I would not say hardcore, but I'm on there for sure.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm not live or die.
So what's the deal? If I have a PS4,
Okay.
do they still make games for that?
I don't think so. No.
Are you serious?
So. Yeah, I don't think
Can't
so.
I buy it online or something?
No, I think they have fully stopped making games for those.
That's
it's
crap.
like the iPhone system. It's all the same. You know, they
back
just
in
stopped.
my day, you could
for
play
sure. It'd be a couple years. Yeah.
a PS1 game.
Yeah, right. The
on
backwards.
PS2.
There is actually.
that's
I'm
the
sorry.
other-
There is some backwards compatibility, but I don't think you can.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They're not
if you had a
making new
PS5, you can play a
games.
PS4, but yeah, you
So
can't.
they're not going to make NBA Street for PS4.
No, definitely not.
So what do people do with their PS4s? I gotta
some
play
people
Crash
keep 'em-
Bandicoot
Yeah, some
forever?
people just kind of will update rosters and stuff, and that's how they keep it going. Some people, I mean, the point is to eventually bite the bullet and get the newest thing.
So this NBA 2K that just came out with Shea.
It's coming. Yeah. It's
I
coming
can't
out
get
in
that
probably
for
September.
PS4.
No, you can't.
No, but what you can do is that people will go back and update the rosters, and then you can download that onto the game so that you have the updated rosters.
This is why I
But
stopped.
at some point, if you have let's say 2K13 or something, they'll just shut down the server in total, and so it's you can't even download those because it's we're not spending the server space to.
This was a
have
big
10 people play.
This was a big thing with the old college football games where
Right.
there would be people who just on their free time spent hundreds of hours inputting every player, and then you could download it
New one comes out
onto
tonight.
14.
Funny enough, new college football game.
Give me, when I'll buy a PS5 when they bring back NCAA baseball. Did you ever play that?
I didn't, but people swear by it. People are like, it was the funnest thing ever.
No, it really was.
Yeah.
And I left it in Philly.
That's a PS2 game.
Yes,
Yeah,
it is a
yeah.
PS2 game, and Temple we had a C-,
There's
but
a Texas dude on
our
the
guy,
cover, right?
our guy did throw cheddar though, and somehow I think I left my PS2 and the game in Philly. I couldn't
that's
fit it,
insane.
and I'm like, I'm an adult now.
It's gonna
and-
be one of those things
Yeah.
too, where if you hold on to them, maybe if you got an original Game Boy or something, if it's still functional, it's. I don't know if it's worth holding on to,
Yeah.
especially I'm assuming you're probably going to get into several arguments with your significant other about it, but it might hold some value.
I fired up. So, did your power go out last week?
No,
it was
mine
either a
didn't.
week or 2 weeks
Mine
ago.
it was right next. It was the block
Okay.
next to me, but no, not mine.
So our power went out.
Yeah, I heard it
My
too.
wife said, "I'm going to read my book." I whipped out the Game Boy SP.
Yeah,
I remember
That's
it
what
being
you call
either my eyes were better or the light was. I could not see
Yeah.
anything. I would play a Mario. I'm like, dude, my eyes hurt, brother. My eyes hurt. Then I tried to plug up. We have a kind of a reverbed version or a refurbished version of Sega Genesis. And the
that was
Street
before my time.
yeah,
Sega
Street
Genesis.
Fighter. It was the color wasn't working,
Yeah.
but we still play.
Yeah, you got to get the RCA cables too, what was it, red,
the
yellow,
color.
white?
Yeah,
right?
there was no
Yeah.
color,
Yeah.
and it was good times though.
Back in the
It's just
day.
how you
Yeah.
build relationships.
No,
you know?
I mean it's great. People don't understand how hard things.
Speaking of building relationships, Chris, a lot of relationships are going to be built during the summer league. I would say on the court. And
Senor
off the
Segue
court.
strikes again.
Not the best.
No, that's a 3.
2.5.
That's pretty weak.
That's a 3. Okay, fair enough. What do you want to see during summer league from your Sacramento
That's
Kings?
right. I mean, not to do the cliches, but I think it's everything that I don't think it's anything special. Like Devin running point guard, I think is definitely something I think we just all need to see. I think it's kind of crazy. I don't know if you heard I think it was the second day of training camp or interviews that came out from their little summer league camp. Devin saying, "I've never played point guard before." I thought that was kind of crazy.
That's what I'm saying.
Like, I feel like we were doing shows during that draft class, and obviously during Devin's rookie season, and I feel like there was some baseline understanding that he's not a point guard, but he has played point guard in the past.
Well, what did he say? I've never been primary.
Yeah. And, I think I've talked to some people who were there, and I think there was a little bit of an edge to Devin about, continually being asked, point guard. So
you think he was kind of annoyed?
I think so a little bit. So I don't know, again, I think he was just really trying to emphasize, I've had the ball in my hands, but I've never been you are running the show. I don't know. But I definitely thought that was surprising and something that I am probably most intrigued by. I think there's the most practical thing that we can take from summer, because that's also the thing too, is I was just telling Brendan and Frankie the other day, I don't know how to gauge my excitement level for summer league. And maybe it's just because I feel like I've just been so excited for guys' summer leagues in the past. And ultimately, I forgot Keegan Murray was summer league MVP. And that's a great accomplishment. It's huge. I don't want to say it means nothing, because Keegan had a great rookie season, and maybe it showed that he was, at that moment, the most NBA ready, but it didn't mean Keegan Murray was going to be the best player out of that draft. It's just, and you can take things from summer league, but I'm not all of this is to say, I think Devin Carter running point guard is the thing that I can extrapolate from summer league and say, this is actually going to possibly play. Maxime Reynaud is not going to, be shooting 5 threes a game when he steps in the NBA. All that stuff isn't really translatable to the actual NBA season. I think Devin Carter, if he can play even backup point guard, I think that's something that at least I can say that's useful for us during the season.
And, just like Jason Anderson reported, some of this is Devin's name's been brought up, and it's a little bit of a showcase. I don't think
30
the Warriors
GMs there, man.
Right. I don't think the Warriors are going to say, hey, we need that now, we'll take the deal. I don't think it's going to be that simple, but I think he can just add to his value. So Kyle is very upset that John Elmore is going to be there, and he thinks he's too old. And there's
a lot of people upset about our guy Mason Jones.
A lot of people upset about both.
I've seen way more people upset about the Mason Jones thing than Elmore, but I'm like, Elmore's what, 29?
So we look. He was born in 95. I think he's 28, turning 29. Or no, he's 29, turning 30.
I can tell you as a 95er.
But what's funny about Mason Jones? Oh, also we looked it up. So of the 20 rosters we had on Monday that were confirmed, he was the oldest player at Summer League.
Elmore?
Yeah.
Yes.
He looks it.
The funny one with Mason Jones, though, is kind of so there's only one two-way spot left. So it's kind of if you can take it from Mason Jones, you can have it, but it's Mason Jones's spot right now. Can any of you guys take it from Mason?
Somebody on
Isaiah Crawford, too.
Right.
I mean, he's somebody last season.
Somebody on social media said Mason Jones is essentially the gatekeeper. If you can't beat out Mason Jones, then what are we talking about here? Do you think
shade? Jeez.
Well, I didn't say it.
I know.
The Elmore one is crazy too, because he's going to Turkey next year. He has a contract to play in Turkey. I don't know why he's here.
Yeah.
It's always a showcase, I guess.
Do you think there is a level, and I'm being dead serious here, do you think there is a level of, with John Elmore and with Mason Jones, to your point about what everybody is trying to get out of Summer League, do you think there are official conversations, unofficial conversations, maybe it's just understood, maybe not so much for Mason Jones, because he's kind of been stuck in this limbo here, but the John Elmores of the world, and to a lesser degree Mason Jones, you think it's a level of hey, you can't be taking 15 shots a game. Right? I mean,
I think if I had to guess, it's a push and pull. I would say there's probably definitely not a formal conversation for that. I would also think that as a GM, you're not going to bring in somebody that you think would do that, if that makes sense. And also, I would say,
it's my time.
Yeah, exactly. I think there's a general understanding, and also I think these guys probably it's not just a tryout for we might view it as a tryout for the Kings, but realistically, if John Elmore has a great game against the Orlando Magic or whatever, like he could get signed to their summer or to their G League team. He could be a part of their, like, so it's not just that these guys, like, for the reason why Elmore or Mason Jones would be quote unquote, like, why are you wasting your time if you're going to Turkey or, you're 26, give up the dream or whatever. It's because these guys, they're showcasing for everybody, not just the Kings. And also they kind of understand too, like, fit into the team system.
Yeah.
Like, you're no one is going to want, Cam Thomas is Cam Thomas. And like, even he's not, he's a very niche role in the NBA, and it's not like every team is, the Malik Monk trade value conversation, all that stuff. Like, these guys need to fit into their role, and I think they understand, especially at this point in their career, if they want to have a career, like, they need to fit into a role in a team system.
Well, and
not just cook.
Right. It's interesting you bring that
also,
up.
I'm sorry, but like summer league sometimes can be terrible as well. And I think
good.
that's part of, like, you have a John Elmore there. It's John Elmore, right?
Yes.
Okay, cool. I do want John Elmore there. You have a Mason Jones there, so that there is a floor, right? Like, you raise your floor by making sure you have some adults out there that are actually running a system and playing defense, because some of these games, they start being cook-offs, right?
Yeah,
it's like, hey, this dude's going to go, and then he's going to go on the other end, and then next thing you know,
I love that.
There hasn't been a point for 3 minutes. And
Who cares?
I think the Kings honestly do, and Brendan's talked about it a ton, but like, they value success at every level. And I think there's not much value to having a clown circus show out there for a summer league team when you could actually get adults in there and run an offense and, like, actually get these guys in something that resembles an NBA offense, as opposed to, oh yeah, we learned that Neek can take guys one-on-one if he needs to. But again, to bring it full circle, like, I don't know how many times that's going to translate into NBA games or how useful that is.
Yeah. We've seen the NBA move in certain directions, right? I like to joke about kind of the 3-and-D guy. Well, really just defensive guys.
Yeah.
Now, all of a sudden, you can't just be a defensive guy, right? To take it to baseball, the 5 tools,
right?
If you're going to be in, you either have to have one ridiculous tool, or you need to have a couple that are obviously above average, and I would argue elite. In basketball, it feels like with this positionless basketball, and Whitey said it best yesterday, the small off guards, that archetype. Now, the Celtics are trying to get rid of Anthony Simons, the dudes that were just out here cooking, and I don't need you to have a bag. My favorite Austin Rivers clip ever. Now, I do wonder.
I don't need you to have the bag work.
Now I wonder, are we, that Whitey laughs every time. I
don't need you to have the bag work.
I wonder if now we're going to see from the AAU level on up, instead of dudes, and we'll joke about the trainers, vibe this way, vibe that way, right? And all this, a flow. Instead of that, is it going to be, hey, yes, you need to shoot, but until we find out that you are above 6'6" or 6'8" or whatever, you got to handle the basketball a little bit, and not just handle the basketball, right? When Devin Carter says, I can handle, I can handle the basketball. Yeah, we know you guys can dribble, but can you make reads at any sort of level?
Yeah, and that's what he said is,
right. As the Jalen Williams of the world, everyone's not going to be Jalen Williams, but hey, his 3-pointer might catch up a little bit, but the fact that we can run him at point at that size is more important. Do you think now we might start to see a changing of the guard again, where it was everybody got to shoot? Now it's, well, you got to be able to handle the rock too, because if you're under 6'6", you have to, you are in danger. You are in danger.
Yeah, I mean, I think it all kind of circles back to the summer conversation of, like, U.S., like the way that people are brought up in the U.S. versus like the European systems, right? It's like, over in Europe, like they definitely have a more well-rounded game. It is more skill-based than, I shouldn't say skill-based, because I would say that the American system is more skill. It's like, it's actually I don't know. Like, I don't really know what the right wording is.
Like,
because,
well-rounded?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, because it's, I mean, definitely, to overgeneralize, it's just more well-rounded over in Europe. And over here, like you said, it kind of prioritizes iso ball, or they prioritize, the 3-point shot, not necessarily making the right reads, passing the balls, proper spacing, proper movement. off the ball. Like I think that's really the bigger conversation is at some point is the European model of which is kind of what I think you're alluding to. Like, is that going to transfer over? I think so, but I honestly don't think that people like you and me can really determine that, because I do think like a big part of the shift was, I mean, we saw how big, to take it all the way back to the early 2000s, like the and one movement, like that had a real impact on basketball. And that, to bring it to what I think went wrong now, it was, you know, the ball is life, the house of highlight, like all of the highlightification of high school or prep athletics, I think really turned it into, let me try and get as many bites at the apple at getting a highlight as possible in these AAU games. And that's why it becomes back and forth, and not necessarily, oh man, look at this, you know, sweet, drive, kick, pass, Cooper Flag makes a back cut, his teammate throws him a lob, and, you know, it's four guys touching the ball in 5 seconds. And, you know, that's the highlight they post. And not to, you know, get off my lawn talk, but I think that's honestly kind of where the shift happens, is whatever gets trending, whatever gets these kids the most attention. Like, I think that's ultimately what dictates the style of play. And I just don't think we know what it's going to be.
Well, and, you know, people have been talking about this for a while, and basically it's just the end of that type of player. You don't have to handle the basketball, but okay, well then you're starting at 6, I guess Nickeil Alexander-Walker is where it starts, right? Where it's you're 6'5" and up, you shoot the lights out the ball, which he can at times, and you defend your butt off, right? It's that type. You're a big, or you're a point guard, or you're a dude, and that's pretty much it. Yeah, that's pretty much it these days.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm really curious where the game is going to go. Like, especially with I don't know how long this new CBA is going to be like in effect, but it does seem like now more than ever, like, people need to fit into roles, and not everyone can be that guy. And I think eventually, like, everyone kind of figures out what your role is going to be, but. I don't know. It does seem like there is definitely a hard shift this season on, ball movement and 5 over, a team of 5 over a team of a big 3. I do wonder how long that's going to last. And I mean, if I think ultimately it would have a good impact, but, I don't know. Like, we'll just have to see how team building ends up going, because, you know, every single time it feels like somebody figures out a loophole, and we eventually get back to it's a star dominant league. Right?
Yeah, that's true too. As far as the Kings Summer League is concerned, and all the cooking that we'll be seeing out there. So, okay, I had it. My ranking was Devin Carter, just seeing what he looks like as a whole. After that, I had Maxime Reynaud, because he's just my guy.
So and then crazy. He's talked about, it feels like, more than our first round pick.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
I have Neek Clifford third.
Yeah.
Right. And there's going to be, I think, a mini battle between Neek and Devin, because Neek is going to handle the rock too. Allegedly, that battle is definitely going to be fun. What chances do you give? And I don't think there's any redundancy, because he plays differently than Isaac Jones. But what chances do you give of Dylan Cardwell of being able to slide in here and surprise some people coming out of Auburn?
Yeah, I was also thinking about that yesterday, kind of as both of them were talking. I was like, these guys pretty much do the same thing, and I think it'll be good for Summer League, but I think ultimately, like, in the grand scheme of things, they probably are the same thing. Like, they're the same type of player, and if you want to make it as cold as possible, like, one guy is from the previous regime, and this guy is Scott Perry's handpicked guy. And so, I think I just wonder how that's going to play out. I'm sure we won't get an answer in Summer League, but I think it's going to be interesting to see how similar those two games are. And, I think yesterday they were talking about how Isaac Jones, they want to start working on his corner 3, and that's something he's been developing all summer. I think that's interesting, because his jump shot didn't look great last year at all.
I think I remember all of his threes. Yeah. There weren't a lot.
No, there weren't a lot. And there was none of them really looked confident, is what I would say. He didn't really have that effortless stroke, and it's clearly something he's working on. But Dylan Cardwell's not there yet. But
he doesn't even shoot. I'm looking here.
He probably took. No, Dylan Cardwell doesn't shoot. No, he doesn't shoot. Period.
No.
But he's definitely not shooting threes. But I think that's might even be more so a. Isaac kind of realizing it. That's going to be how he has to stay in the league. Is be a little bit more versatile. I do think Dylan Cardwell. I don't know if there's still a role for this kind of Montrezl Harrell type dude in the NBA. I
Quincy
love
AC.
it. The Quincy AC, right? I mean, the Ben Wallace, like that's obviously doing it at the highest level. But I was talking to Brendan after the practice yesterday. Like Dylan Cardwell's the one guy who, I won't say one guy because there's obviously others, but he's the guy who and it's not just the Quincy Azee thing. It's not just the Ben Wallace thing. I don't have to really imagine much to think of what his role in the NBA would be, right? Like you can see a hustle energy guy who's there at the rim, who's, if he can, provide some rim protection on the defensive end, lobs, obviously, and just kind of bring that toughness, tenacity. Like he could be a 4 in this league. And he doesn't have to score over 4 points a game. He can be just kind of a really gritty guy who gets 10, 15 minutes. I'm not saying this season, but I just mean at any point in his career, I could see a path for him, for that kind of player. And yeah, I think it would be pretty easy for him to just kind of be that guy. I don't think there's really, I don't want to say like there's not much skill involved there, but like if you, the thing that impressed me the most about the quote yesterday was the self-awareness, really. Like that's the thing that impressed me the most is he understands exactly who he needs to be in the NBA and the guys that he didn't say a Draymond Green. He didn't, I mean, granted Ben Wallace also Hall of Famer, but like he doesn't have very unrealistic expectations. That is like the exact kind of role. And if you know exactly who you're going to be, and he hasn't even played a summer league game yet. I just think he's got a head start is what I would say.
Yeah, it's a good point. But I think that's the thing. And you said it yourself. I'm trying to now
today
think about who is he today?
Yeah. Montrezl Harrell is 32 and he's not in the NBA.
Yeah,
Kenneth Faried was out of the NBA by
Manimal
28.
is gone.
Okay.
So off the top of my head, and I'm sure they have comps for him. I don't know if the comps are anybody from today's game, but when you're 6'8", 6'9", and you don't shoot, it's just feeling very G League-y to me.
I mean, and doesn't it also feel like Draymond Green has to be elite for him to get any minutes, right?
Right.
It's like there's not really an in-between with those kind of guys, I guess might also be the point. It's like you either have to be elite and that eliteness at that skill keeps you on the floor, or you're just really good and it really like there's other uses for that spot. If you're not bringing something that's truly elite, you're not scoring for me, you're rebounding, but rebounding is kind of debated on how A, important it is, and B, how much of a skill it really is. And I don't know, it can be found elsewhere. So it's like, he's really got to be special in his energy or in his athleticism or in something there. It's got to pop. And a lot of people have said it does pop, but he was on a national championship team. He started next to Janai Broom. Obviously college is different than pros, but like he's fit into a role and into a system on a team that won. So we'll have to see. I think he's just the one that I guess at this point it wouldn't be a surprise, but I think he's the one that I think would surprise people the most in terms of like, oh, that guy, he jumps off the page every time he plays.
Right. And I mean, look, not to get into the Draymond conversation, but I don't know what Draymond did if he's drafted to the Kings.
Sure.
Right. Or if he's
that's the right. If
know.
Draymond would have went to the Pistons all those years ago in free agency, like what would have
I don't
is he
know.
useful if he's not on a team that has great pieces already?
I think in a perfect world,
is he a luxury piece too?
Right. I think in a perfect world, because I don't even know what Janai Broom is, to be completely honest with you. But I think in a perfect world, and I'm not going to sit here and pretend like an undrafted guy and a second round guy are going to be your anchors, but the idea of it would
Stockton. We can at least talk Stockton.
Yeah, they got a championship to repeat. They got a title to defend. But in a perfect world, you would, the archetypes, the Maxime Reynaud and Dylan Cardwell, those archetypes do play well together, right? 100%. As a 4 and 5. That's banking on a second rounder and an undrafted guy hitting on a level where it just doesn't typically work. But
that's where summer league is also fun, though, is that for a week, we can act like it is like this is what the NBA is, you know? And so if they do dominate, it will be fun. It will be really exciting. And I do think if we just want to bring it to a microscope of this next week, like I'm really intrigued to see how that works, like how those two play off of each other. And it still is the developmental league, right? Like maybe there is a chance that you can think of it as like, I don't know if we're grooming the backup of the backups of our future, but like I think that it is interesting to see if those two can play together, and if they're kind of like what you're suggesting, if there is a little bit of additiveness by them playing together, can they play off, do their styles almost contrast so much that it's a perfect fit together.
When we return, we've talked worst case scenario for the Kings. Let's talk best case scenario along with Chris Watkins. What does he think about RJ Barrett? Allen Stiles, Sacramento Sports.
Hi, Zoe Saldana. Welcome to T-Mobile. Here's your new iPhone 16 Pro on us.
Thanks. And here's my old phone to trade in.
You don't need a trade-in. When you switch to T-Mobile, we'll give you a new iPhone 16 Pro. Plus, we'll help you pay off your old phone up to $800, and you still get to keep it.
There's always a trade-in.
Not right now at T-Mobile.
I feel like I have to give you something in return for karma.
That's okay.
I don't really have much in my purse. Oh, let's see. Hand sanitizer. It's lavender.
I'm good. Seriously.
Let me check this pocket. Oh, mints?
Really, I'm fine.
Oh, I have raisins. I'm a mom. Wait 1 sec. I've got cupcakes in the car.
It's our best iPhone offer ever. Switch to T-Mobile. Get a new iPhone 16 Pro with Apple Intelligence on us. No trade-in needed. We'll even pay off your phone up to $800.
With 24 monthly bill credits, new line, $100 plus a month on experience beyond finance agreement, $999.99 and qualifying imported. For well qualified plus tax and $10 connection charge. Pay off via virtual prepaid card below 15 days. Credits end and balance due if you pay off early or cancel. See T-Mobile.com.
Around here, the summer can smack you silly, especially if your AC is not functioning at a high level. Whitey Gleason here. I had the opposite problem over the winter. System went down. It was panic time, but Lee's Air Plumbing and Heating saved the day. Let them save you from unnecessary summer misery. Lee's Air Plumbing and Heating, reliable, trustworthy. They do great work. They won awards for their service. Check the reviews at leesair.com. Find out about their $99 HVAC tune-up service. Save your summer now. Lee's Air Plumbing and Heating on the web at leesair.com. License number 635355.
Catch all the action at Sky River Casino. Enjoy over 80 table games, more than 2,100 slot machines, and a thrilling high-limit room. Plus, with 18 elevated restaurants, bars, and lounge destinations, and Sky River rewards that add up and up. There's something for everyone. Just minutes from Sacramento, right off Highway 99 in Elk Grove. Join in the fun and experience new heights. Sky's the limit at Sky River Casino. Visit skyriver.com today. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Get ready for a night out with Jordan Davis. It's Country in the Park 2, Saturday, September 13th at Cal Expo. Along with the special guests Mitchell Tenpenny, Locash, Vincent Mason, and Abriana. Make it a family day out with food trucks, games, dancing, and more. Saturday, September 13th at Cal Expo.
Sponsored by Tricks Racing Canes, Chicken Fingers, and Naturewood Home Furnishings. Tickets at catpfest.com.
July 4th savings explode at Maida's Elk Grove Chevy. Save $10,750 off MSRP after rebates. Every new 2025 Silverado half-ton LT and RST 5.3 in stock. Maida Chevy has similar savings on every new Silverado. One of the largest selections in the Sacramento area. $10,750 off new Silverado, exclusively at the Maida Chevy Silverado Supercenter. Now that's big, huge. See them all at MaidaChevy.com. Together, let's drive.
Rated 2011 new, not available with special financing, lease, and some other offers.
This summer, give your kids a reason to smile, rightly. At Kids Care Dental, we make dental visits fun with a kid-friendly team, easy to schedule appointments, and expert doctors who really care.
Whether it's a checkup, a cleaning, or their very first visit, we've got you covered. We accept most insurances, and we're always ready when your schedule gets hectic.
Smiles grow here. Book online in minutes at kidscaredental.com. That's kidscaredental.com. Kids Care Dental, where healthy teeth make happy kids.
This summer, the heat keeps coming on the Sacktown Sports Live events calendar. Kicking off when Third Eye Blind and Neon Trees light up the stage on July 25th at the venue at Thunder Valley. Then head up to the lake for not one, but 2 nights with Old Dominion, August 1st and 2nd at the Lake Tahoe Amphitheater at Caesars Republic. And come right back up August 17th for Glass Animals. On August 21st, flash back to your favorite decade with Lost 80s Rewind featuring Flock of Seagulls at Thunder Valley Resort and Casino. Then get weird with the one and only Weird Al Yankovic live at the Lake Tahoe Amphitheater at Caesars Republic on August 24th. On August 29th, Japanese Breakfast takes the stage at the all-new Channel 24 music venue in downtown Sacramento. And don't miss the legendary Darius Rucker bringing the country heat to the Lake Tahoe Amphitheater at Caesars Republic on September 13th. For tickets and more details, keep it right here on Sacktown Sports or visit sacktownsports.com.
A throwback. 916 says, great point. Chris used the term. Chris, did you create that highlightification? Was that it?
I think so.
Chris
Yes,
exclusive?
I did. Yeah.
Great point about the highlightification of young players. I can't tell you how many YouTube videos I watched of Mac McClung when he was in high school.
He looks sick.
Well,
dude.
you know who I was going to say, but he's in Sacramento now, and I want to get him on the show. But, I mean, Mikey Williams.
Oh, yeah.
Mikey
right.
Williams.
Yeah.
He was the dude.
I mean, he was the guy for sure. Yeah, I mean, Mikey Williams. You remember like Gabe York when that was more so like my time.
Right.
Aaron Gordon's.
Gordon.
Alonzo Trier is one I think of.
I was the peak high school mixtape is John Wall. I mean, that's to me unassailable.
Yeah.
You cannot get more high. Zion, obviously. I mean, that almost like that brought it mainstream. Like when Zion started doing what he was doing, it was Spartanburg.
Right. I'm like, why am I watching this?
He's literally the videos of him literally playing kids who look like they're in 8th grade and play at like the youth league or something like that was crazy.
You know,
and that's the other thing is like, what do we do with these things? You
No,
know,
I
it's
don't
like,
know.
What am I supposed to do with, Boozer twins dunking on some local kid?
Yeah,
They're
and
supposed to be nasty.
Well, I've told you, this is what I said.
I've
ran Tankathon about 10 times. The simulator. They've won. The Kings have won the lottery twice, and it was twice within the first
Nail it in.
6 times.
Yeah.
I'm saying stop winning now. Just be the 8th worst.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's where they're heading. I mean, I don't really know if you can.
38.5. That's Vegas.
That's a lot. I was very surprised to see that.
Whoa, a lot.
Portland's at like 32.5, and Portland was already better than the Kings the second half of last year.
I haven't done the exercise yet, but I really want to see like what was the post De'Aaron Fox record. I can't remember what it was. But like I think there's an illusion of, I mean, Doug Christie himself went about 500, which is good, all things considered, definitely. But still, the second half of the season, you're a 500 team. So that already skews where your actual number probably should have been. And then you trade your superstar. And then that's why I want to know that number, because that's, again, probably more indicative of where that current collection of players stands within the other league, the rest of the league. And if I'm not mistaken, the Kings at one point had the worst record in the NBA for a stretch after trading De'Aaron. So I think they were like, if I remember, 6 and like 15 or something like that post De'Aaron Fox trade.
Schroeder.
I just think, okay, so that's fine. Yeah. And you can argue that they have gotten whatever you subtract Trey Lyles, you get whatever, like you can do the math and say that the team is better, but that's better than your, 400 record or whatever that is, so I think we might be trying to gauge that. I think we're gauging the current win total off of last year's number or off of their win total last year. And I'm saying that's not even a number you should think about, because that's not even a true 82 game representation of where that team would have been.
But here's what's interesting, because this leads us right into the conversation of best case scenario for the Kings.
Yeah. And I think
the argument is, and this is how we kind of started the show, hey, worst case scenario is the Kings. Honestly, it's weird. I guess worst case scenario is pretty much what happened last season, but having your own pick, because you'd have
you're saying not worst cases in the most losses you can have. You're saying worst cases in leaving the season vibe wise. You're like that went about as terribly as
bad
it
vibes. No top pick.
Gotcha.
Right.
Yes,
right.
That
which
is
what last season was. So
that equation equals the worst season.
Yes.
Yeah.
So same idea, but now, obviously, quote unquote, best case scenario is where you could argue best case scenario for maybe what you think could be different than what I think, where best case scenario for you is to stink.
Right.
I was talking to people and, obviously said best case scenario for me is to get to the first round, have some fun, and take the 15th pick. I don't care.
Yeah. Right.
So
definitely.
But the way you're talking about 38 wins, you don't think that's going to be a problem. You don't think I have to worry about a miracle run.
I feel like the most likely scenario, I wouldn't even say the worst scenario or anything, is that I feel like there's a really good chance the West is great, and like the Kings to me are like the second or third worst team in the West. Like that feels like the most likely.
Yeah.
I think there's definitely a chance. I think I said it the other day or like last week on the show, and I felt some energy from around the room that maybe that was ambitious, but I think there's a best case scenario, an absolute best case scenario where they're like a 6, a 7 seed. But I think, there's also a world where, like you said, they're a 10 seed again and flame out and there's nothing positive. But yeah, I think the most likely is that this team is probably second to third worst team in the West, because I think that's probably where that just feels to me like where they're trending.
Well, with that being said, does that become a conversation of, hey, that could be the case, but DeMar DeRozan probably isn't on that team where we're getting close to the trade deadline. It didn't work.
Right.
We're the 11 seed. We're the 12 seed. The Bucks are looking for a closer.
Sure.
Fine. Let's just take Kyle Kuzma and Andre Jackson. And now DeMar maybe has a little bit of value, or do you think they finish the season as a 12th seed or whatever and also still have everyone on the team?
To me, it just feels like, I think that scenario is very likely, but to me, it just feels very all or nothing, in the sense of they're either going to be better than what people expect, and that energy is going to carry them, and like they're going to have some confidence and they'll be a good team, and that's where maybe like the 6, 7, 8 seed comes in. Or to me, if they're floundering again, if they're 500, like the vibes are going to be so that it's going to be like, what are we doing? And that's where trade conversations start to leak up. That's where random injuries start to happen. And it's like, oh, actually DeMar is going to miss the next 2 weeks with a hamstring injury or something like that. That's just how I feel like it's going to go. I know obviously spiritually the team wants to be a 500, like they would much rather be a 500 team and have you keep fighting, but I just can't imagine the energy. DeMar has talked about how he doesn't have many years left. I think everybody,
the shooter fix all of this.
Exactly. I think there's a lot of ruffled feathers there, and I could just see if things are incredibly stagnant, it's gonna end. The floor is gonna fall out. Is just how I feel, and that's why I say all or nothing. I don't think there is a middle ground for this team, because in my imagination, if they are in that middle ground, there's just not going to be I just think A, teams are too good, but B, they're just not going to. How are they going to? What are they fighting for? Like that's going to be the motivation. Is like what is a 36-year-old DeMar DeRozan fighting for? What is a Zach LaVine who just got here and might already be thinking about the contract he's going to get when he leaves here? Sabonis, ruffled feathers, he's thinking about. I just think there's going to be too much that pops up if you are a mid team that they won't be able to help themselves but to have the floor fall out.
What do you think, or what have you heard as far as the DeMar DeRozan piece of this? There were two players that we knew. Scott Perry said he was going to talk to everyone, but we knew Domantas Sabonis was having some type of conversation and DeMar DeRozan was having some type of conversation. And we're in July now, and all we've seen is DeMar DeRozan and USC with Doug Christie, with everything that you just said. And we were joking about Devin Booker chasing the bag or whatever. Is this a DeMar actually believes in the Kings thing?
Right.
And all they needed was a point guard. Is this, the agent, I talked to my agents and there's just not really anything out there. We're going to make the best of it. Is that I don't want to come off the bench thing? It's really hard to read that we haven't heard anything about DeMar DeRozan.
Yeah.
And, we got aggregators running around saying both teams. I think early on we heard both teams both sides want to get something done, but it never really escalated. So maybe they had the conversation and it just didn't come out or wasn't as big of a deal as when De'Aaron Fox had it. I just don't really know what to make of why DeMar DeRozan, based on everything he said, we all heard him in the exit presser, now all of a sudden would now want to stay in Sacramento.
Right. Yeah, no, I think if I had to guess, I know for a fact Scott Perry wants DeMar DeRozan in the locker room. I think that is also tied to the fact that they probably did search the market and it was incredibly underwhelming. And, who knows, maybe the places DeMar wanted to go to had no interest at all. And it was just a conversation of, hey, like, I'm not saying it can't happen, but unless you want to go to whatever team we decide gives us the best assets, like let's hold off and be a good culture guy. You have a great reputation in the league. We just need you to stick it out for half a season, be a pro, set an example. We don't want this locker room to completely crumble, establish some sort of culture, or at least keep a culture from completely falling apart. and will try and do the best by you. Like I feel like this is a very professional relationship right now with Scott and DeMar. I think Scott respects and like wants to honor DeMar and if he wants to find a new place. But I feel like if I had to guess, Scott feels like it's important to have the locker room not be a complete, like having DeMar there, I think establishes some sort of veteran presence, and it's just not a laughing stock. Like I think that there was a chance if DeMar's gone, if Sabonis is their best player, Zach LaVine, that's not really somebody you want carrying the torch for you. Like I think that there's a chance that locker room is super disjointed. I think Sabonis is a really nice guy. I don't know how much like of a rah in the locker room kind of guy he is. Not that DeMar's that either, but I don't know how connected they would have been if DeMar's not there. It feels super disjointed, and I think DeMar at least can be some sort of like glue guy, right? A mediator, somebody who is at least somebody to look up to and have respect in that locker room. Because if DeMar's not there, I think there's an even bigger chance that leash just gets completely let go.
DeMar DeRozan, does he stay? RJ Barrett, does he arrive? Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
When might you be buzzed? When you suddenly love everything.
You guys, I love this song. I love these nachos. I love our kickball league. Oh, I love this guy. What's your name? You know what I'd love? A ride when it's time to head out.
If you see a buzzed warning sign, call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
I love your car. Is this real leather?
William is one of millions of Americans who uses GoodRx to save on the cost of their prescriptions.
My oldest daughter, Camilla, 2 days old, she had to have open heart surgery. All of a sudden, she's on 5 different medications. It adds up at the end of the month. Me and the pharmacist got so tight. She said, GoodRx save you a lot of money. Saving that extra $200-300 a month. We're able to do all these extra activities, so it puts less stress on our household, and it puts less stress on our pockets.
Download the free app or visit GoodRx.com and start saving today. GoodRx user compensated for their time. GoodRx is not insurance, but can be used instead of insurance.
ZipRecruiter is the place. ZipRecruiter is the place for talented teachers, savvy software developers, and master mixologists. ZipRecruiter is the place where you meet all these people and more. That's because ZipRecruiter is the place for job seekers who are looking for new opportunities. In fact, ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day, so you can find the right candidates right away. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Why'd I go to the doctor? My heart would race just taking my son to practice. It didn't feel right. So I got checked out. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit NoTimeToWait.com. Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Skeeter here. Got a question. What's small and dark with white bands on its legs and bites during the day?
Mosquitoes. Hi, I'm Luz Maria Robles, but these are 2 new types of day-biting mosquitoes. They're invading our area and becoming a big problem.
And they can be dangerous.
But we're on it, so when you see them, report it at fightthebite.net. In the meantime, use insect repellent and drain stagnant water around your yard.
We're here to help with these day-biting mosquitoes.
Visit us at fightthebite.net.
Hello, Sacramento. I'm Emran Pilati, owner of True Sports Cards and Collectible Store here in Rockland, California, and the host of the True Sports Cards Show that airs right here on Sacktown Sports 1140 every Saturday from 10 to 11 a.m., where we discuss the latest trends, hottest products, and deliver exclusive interviews with other industry leaders. And don't forget to visit our shop, True Sports Cards, at 6661 Stanford Ranch Road in Rockland and see what we have for all your sports card and memorabilia needs.
Michael Dave here for my friends at American Energy Heating and Air. Yes, I always tell you they are a family-owned operation, been in business since 81, A-plus Better Business Bureau, but it is hot. We are in those Sacramento hot months. I want to focus on them being your second opinion partner. What does that mean? Maybe you've got somebody you're working with or you've worked with in the past in the HVAC world. Guess what? They want to give you a second opinion. How much does it cost? Nothing. Nothing. You call them up and say, hey, can I get a second opinion on this deal? They come out and they either say, wow, that's a great deal, you should feel better about that. Or they say, we can beat that price. And usually they're going to beat it by a lot. Guess what? You just saved money and it didn't cost you anything to find out. It's a no-lose situation. Go with a trusted company. American Energy, 916-520-9990. That's 916-520-9990 or AmericanEnergyAir.com. Jingle Singers, take it away.
Call 916-520-9990 now.
Sacramento Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has the biggest selection, the best prices, and unbeatable customer service. Check them out online, sacsuperstore.com, for the guaranteed lowest price on Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram. Open until 10 o'clock and right across from Hagen Oaks Golf Course. sacsuperstore.com.
Live and local
It's Allen Stiles
on Sacktown Sports.
Shout out to Matt George, who gave us all a shout out to the Sacramento crew that's going to be out there in Vegas. Okay, he says he couldn't make it out there, but he gives a shout out to Deuce and Mo, myself, Frankie, Brendan, Jason Ross, our guy Jeremiah. So yeah, Matt, we'll take care of things for you. Don't you worry. It's gonna be fun times. Chris, you've done Summer League before. Yeah. This is my first one. So do you have any suggestions or any thoughts that you could share on air?
I would say be ready to literally see anybody. Like anybody at any time. Like, I mean, going to the bathroom, you'll run into some college basketball coach. You walk into any hotel, you're probably going to see at least one basketball player or some former college player that you remember walking through the lobby or gambling at a craps table or something like that. I would just be expecting to see literally everybody. Like, you'll see Shams, you just won't believe who you'll see.
Okay. And yeah, we got the mics. I got to show this to you.
Okay.
So we're ready for any mic type of interviews. Can I slide on them, or is that poor?
What
is that poor?
Oh, like, can you like?
Yeah, like, hey, you trying to hit this?
Well, now you're not even being
crazy.
Subtle.
I don't think that's good etiquette. If I had to guess,
Me neither.
Probably wouldn't.
Got to warm them up first.
Why would you
Definitely
do that
have
to Jay
warm 'em
Billis
up first?
You know,
because it's like Shams, especially at those
Shams.
events. He's like, I am going to, like, everyone's going to be yelling, Shams.
Yeah. I'm be like, you shot. Do you know me?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
No. Okay, cool. Okay, cool.
Just like Kyle with Devin Carter in the airport.
Huh? I missed this.
Oh, you didn't? Okay.
No.
Long story short story medium. I went on a flight a couple weeks ago. Devin Carter is in line at TSA, about 6'3.5". You know, me and him are the tallest two in line. Nice. He's in front of me at the beginning, but then by the time we get through TSA, I'm in front of him and he's right behind me as we're walking through, like, to get our, like, security scan. Like, you know how you have to walk through the thing and put your hands up and they scan you and then
Don't
pat you
take
down.
your shoes off anymore.
Yeah. So me and him both took our shoes off.
And I got my lifts in. So
no TSA pre-check for Devin Carter. We're
I
both
was also thinking
going through. And Allen got mad at me because I chose not to be like, "Hey, what's up, Devin?" as we're walking through. I just let the man be while he was at the airport.
Chris was there. Chris was there when I met,
literally
busting with the boys.
Like, yeah, you could not have said
Compton.
this to a worse person.
Yeah,
because
Chris was there when I got his number.
literally is this guy. Like,
Yeah,
we were leaving the Vegas airport. Was it Will Compton in front of us? Yeah, and Allen was like, "I'm gonna get his number."
I'm like, girl dad, bro.
Yeah, and this
know,
fool
what's up?
like sprints through TSA check-in to get to his shoes faster, to put his shoes on so he can tell Will Compton, "What up? I like your podcast."
I got his number.
Mine was the reverse. It was he was behind me. I'm not gonna like actively wait around and also not bother him. He's just living his life. I'm not gonna be like, "Hey, what's up, Devin? I work for KHTK and I think you're awesome." I'm not gonna be that guy.
No, what's up, Dev? Hey, what's good, bro? Hey, it's gonna be your league one day, man.
I should also point out no one else is bothering him. Like, it's not like there's 8 people around him. Like, oh my god, it's Devin Carter. No one knows it's him.
Yeah.
Or
Well,
if they
look,
they're not saying.
I'll show you how it's done. Chris, are the Kings going to show us how a trade is done with RJ Barrett?
It's interesting for sure. I heard you, have the Raptor guy on, and him pretty much say that the Raptors have had a lot of interest in Malik for a long time. I think that's the only way it happens is if they're the ones who bite on the Malik Monk apple, and RJ, I guess, that makes the most sense. I think it's a decent bet for the Kings. I don't know really how I feel about RJ. I haven't watched a ton of him since he left New York, but as a player, like he's good. Like I think he's, again, probably somebody who I think the casual fan probably knows the name and knows the basic of he was picked third or second, and he definitely is not somebody who I think of as a second or third best player. And so that means he's not very good. Like I think that they're when you see him every day, like he's a decent shooter.
Yeah.
He's good at finishing at the rim. I think it's just he doesn't really have an elite skill. I think he's good. Like I think he's solid. I don't think he's I don't think he has a as high of a ceiling as obviously what we once thought. Like I feel like he's a solid player, but I'm not super familiar with his contract right now. He's probably
27 a year, something like that.
Yeah, he's probably not going to live up to that. But he's fine. I mean, he's not. Yeah, I don't know. He's probably like your fourth or fifth bet. Like, is he more impactful? He's probably as impactful as Keegan is like last season.
Yeah. Would you say that a move for RJ Barrett is still in the same spirit of just procrastinating and just, hey, yeah, he's a little bit younger, but we're still going to have to probably stink at some point?
I think it's just a worse Jonathan Kuminga like situation where it's like, I think Kuminga probably has more variance, but I feel like Kuminga has some star potential, maybe even superstar potential, but I think RJ Barrett is just hey, it's still a swing. He's still a younger guy. Like there might be more to his game. And it just feels like a lesser version of that kind of swing where you're getting a little bit younger. It's somebody that, you can try and develop. And at some point he had star potential. To me, it's just a lesser bet, but I don't really get why you would prioritize doing it. Like I wouldn't seek it out, but again, if you're really adamant about trading Malik Monk, and I think that's the best you're going to, I would say RJ Barrett's the best you're going to get from Malik Monk for sure.
Yeah. Lower risk, lower reward.
Like I think, I'm not guaranteeing Kuminga could like be a starter for you. I think he should be and could be. But I think RJ Barrett will at the very least be like a solid player for you. Probably, again, doesn't live up to 27 million, but like you'll get solid rotational minutes from him.
Yeah. And I think the thing with RJ Barrett is, okay, you have a little bit of wiggle room here to see what he's going to become. I know this might sound silly, Chris, but I don't know, right? When you look at some of these guys, obviously we're right down the street from the Bay, but you could turn on TV and see, oh shoot, Jonathan Kuminga went off for 30 in a playoff game. Okay, there's something, and he's a Skywalker and things like that. I don't know. Yeah, he's in Toronto, but I don't know when's the last time I've just fired up SportsCenter and RJ Barrett dropped a random 40 burger. Right? Yeah, I just don't know.
It's actually crazy, and I'm looking at it. The biggest problem I should have pulled up his basketball reference before now, but it's actually crazy. He's had 3 straight seasons averaging over 20 a game. He's actually only had 2 seasons. His rookie year, 14.5. Second year, 17. Then 20, 19.6, 20.2, 21.8 2 seasons ago. And then last season, 21.1. So like he's been a really good scorer. He's shot it, around 46%, as high as 49%. He's a much better scorer than I would have thought he was. Even his 3-point numbers last year weren't great, 35% on 5 attempts, but 39% on just under 4 the season before that. So I think he's still trying to figure it out. He's 25 years old going into this season. I think that's super intriguing. I could be mistaken, but I actually think that is I think that's actually a really good bet to make. And if you're going to get him from Malik, I think what I was going to say initially, the biggest problem with RJ is his games played. Last 3 seasons, 58 games, 32 games, and then 58 games last season. So not even being 25 years old and, not even really being able to play.
What is that? What's going on there,
games.
brother?
Like, that's where you start to get concerned is, how his body holds up. He's not a freak athlete or anything like that. So,
why is that happening?
Yeah, exactly. It's pretty much my question is I'm not sure exactly what the injuries were, but I wouldn't guess that his game isn't super explosive. So I don't really know what would lead to that many injuries.
Yeah. And it stinks that it's Malik kind of on the table in order to make this happen.
Right.
But I think if you go get RJ Barrett and you get a little bit younger, you go to 25 and you have a little bit more star potential. And that would make me feel better if you mess around and get into the first round, or you're looking at a 12 to 14 pick. At least it's a combination because you only got 12, 14, but you went and got RJ Barrett. If you don't do either, if you don't do that, but then still you're not getting a top pick either, that's the problem.
Real quickly to answer your question, Chris, just in his time in Toronto, it's been knee, shoulder, concussion, ankle, illness, and tanking. He has missed games for.
Oh, he's good.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, none of those are like, super damaging. Ankle is not ideal, but, we just saw Kevin Huerter come back from shoulder. I mean, and Devin Carter come back from shoulder. If he's back from that, then he should be fine long term. But it's just, I don't know. He's 25 years old, though. And that's, again, not lingering injuries, but it's not great that maybe you could say he's injury prone at that point.
Yeah. I mean,
but tanking, a lot of tanking going on there.
So we'll see. Chris, I will see you in Vegas.
Yeah,
Thank you so much for coming on. You'll be out in Vegas starting tomorrow. I will see you on Saturday. Chris Watkins, be sure to follow him on social media for all your Dylan Cardwell information that you may need.
Got a Bruce Pearl retweet earlier today.
There you go. There you go.
That would happen.
All right, we'll talk to Chris soon when we return. Kings open up Summer League today versus the Orlando Magic. Allen Stiles, Sactown Sports.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Keeping your engines healthy means protecting them in season and out. Experts trust Stable to do that, and third-party testing confirms it. Stable is the industry leader in preventing fuel-related issues, no matter if you use it in your car, boat, or outdoor power equipment. In season or out, at every fill-up or when you store, start with Stable.
With Progressive's Name Your Price tool, you get coverage options based on how much you want to pay for car insurance. And then you decide how to spend the rest of your money because you're in charge. Today, you're going to pay down your credit card bill. But you decide when you'll pay it. Before the due date, so those interest charges don't get you. But you decide if you pay it in full. But you definitely should, because again, interest charges. With Progressive's Name Your Price tool, we'll help you find coverage at a fair price. Then you're in charge. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Not available in all states. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
Bonneville International Radio Station contests are open to participants at least 18 years of age and older that are residents of California and who reside in one of the 6 counties that make up the Sacramento metro area, unless otherwise specified. Employees or agents of the station, Bonneville International Corporation, other area radio stations, or any entity associated with the contest are not eligible to win, unless the station otherwise specifies in its own discretion. Persons who have won in the last 30 days from a station contest or event may not be eligible. For a copy of the general contest rules, visit KHTK.com.
Come check out Capital Casino, Sacramento's #1 poker room with the most variety of table games in the region in a safe and friendly environment. Plenty of well-lit parking available, conveniently located in downtown Sacramento. And remember, Capital Casino has the best food, the best service, and the best action. 411 North 16th Street in downtown Sacramento. For more information, log on to capital-casino.com and please gamble responsibly. 1-800-GAMBLER.
The Giant Summer Sale is here. Get giant savings on our giant selection only at Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop.
Looking to own or lease? Save during the Honda Summer Event and drive a brand new Accord or Civic. See all our specials at FolsomLakeHonda.com.
As a family-owned and operated dealership since 2009, customer service is our #1 priority. Our customers love doing business with us, and you will too.
Folsom Lake Honda. Go to FolsomLakeHonda.com.
Your one-stop Honda shop.
Get ready to leap tall buildings in a single bound as DC Comics' Superman, the IMAX experience, flies onto the Esquire IMAX Theater 6-story screen in downtown Sacramento.
No matter what you do to me, Luther, your plans won't work.
The Man of Steel is back. It's the beginning of a whole new adventure for Clark Kent. Grab the family and experience Superman's new epic adventure filled with hope. Get your reserved seats today at IMAX.com/Sacramento.
Hey, buddy. Eyes up here.
Superman, the IMAX experience, playing this week on the largest screen in Sacramento, the Esquire IMAX Theater.
Hey, it's Carmichael Dave. I got to tell you, I am so excited to get this decking project started with Trex Decking and Railings. From the first time I stepped foot in the showroom last week, I was so impressed. So many color options, heat-resistant composite deck. What does that mean? That means I don't have to do any maintenance on it whatsoever. They even have a deck designer, so you can go online and see what your dream deck will look like on your house. Just visit Trex, that's Trex.com to get it started. Tell them Carmichael Dave sent you.
What's up? We're talking to Chad Hobbit, a Hobbit Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Woodland. What's happening for the Hobbit Employee Pricing Plus sales event?
We're going all in on Ram this month, with not just employee pricing, but huge emphasis on the plus. You can only get at Hoblet. Right now, save up to $16,000 off MSRP on new 2025 Ram 1500 crew cabs.
What about those hard-to-find Ram heavy duties?
If you're looking for something bigger, save up to $13,500 off MSRP on the hard-to-find brand new 2025 heavy-duty Ram 2500s and 3500s, with 500 new Rams available.
Search, select, and save through our whole inventory at HobletDodge.com. Nobody beats Hoblet. Period. $16,000 total net savings on select new 2025 Ram 1500 Bighorn after $6,500 factory rebates and $9,500 dealer discounts. Rebates may include $2,500 SFS bonus cash. Must finance with Stellantis. $1,000 trade-in assist with eligible trade-in. $500 on the job upfit. Must show eligible upfit. $13,500 total net savings on select new 2025 Ram 2500 Limited after $4,000 factory rebates and $9,500 dealer discounts. Rebates may include $2,500 select inventory bonus cash and $500 on the job upfit. Must show eligible upfit. At least 5 at each net savings. Employee pricing included in dealer discounts. See dealer for details.
KHD1 Sacramento, KYMX HD3 Sacramento. From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios.
This is Sacktown Sports 1140. Allen Stiles. Watch the show on youtube.com/Sacktown Sports 1140.
Or listen on the Sacktown Sports app.
Thanks to Chris Watkins. Fun hour as always. Sounded like old people as far as where the game is going. But hey, you know, it is interesting, okay, to say the very least, just as far as how the game is changing. And yeah, man, I mean, if you're under 6'5", you should be some level of a point guard. And I'm not saying Devin Carter isn't. I'm saying, you know, the Keon Ellis conversation that we had last season, you're just not going to get as far these days because, you know, and Keon has a specific skill set defensively, so, and he can shoot the basketball. So it's almost as if, unless you're a dude or a center, you have to have at least 2 of 3 skills, right? And you can't be an absolute brick. But of the 3 skills, I would say defense, passing, ball handling, playmaking, and scoring, shooting the basketball. Those are the 3, right? Because I don't know if let's say all of the guys that have kind of struggled to find homes, or the Whitey Gleason smaller guard archetype, the names that we read off, none of them are good defenders, right? Jordan Clarkson, who got bought out, not a good defender. Malik Monk, not a good defender. So they have 2 of the 3, but they're not good defenders. So it's been tough. And the playmaking, I know, funny enough, and I was going to throw Cam Thomas in there as well. Funny enough, to that point of Mike Brown copying everything, Kyle, I saw a quote on Mike Brown talking about Jordan Clarkson, and the quote was, "He's a better playmaker than either I realize or give credit for." I remember verbatim. Do you know who he said that about?
I'm going to go Malik.
DeMar DeRozan. He's a much better passer than I think either I gave him credit for or people give him credit for. He said the same thing about Jordan Clarkson. So if you're looking at these skill sets, and I would argue you could have, if two aren't elite, because like I said, Jordan Clarkson and Malik Monk, they can pass the basketball. Malik could have 11 assists in a game, but just as far as being pure point guards, okay, you can score and you do a little bit of playmaking, but you're not good on defense or you're not great on defense. That's a problem. So a lot of these guys that, you never know how big you're going to end up, but if you're tracking to be under 6'5", you need to have a level of playmaking in your bag. That's just how it is these days.
So I pulled up our O LeBron, D LeBron rankings thing. They classify
not ours, yours,
mine. The great people over at Basketball Index, who we've had on the show before. The great people over there. I just got to hit myself with it.
Dork.
Mm-hmm.
And they have something. They have roles, and then they also have something called archetype in terms of position, right? So they don't just use wing forward. They kind of have more. And the type of player that you're talking about, the Jordan Clarkson, the Malik Monk, they list those players as secondary ball handlers. So what you're talking about is if you're under 6'5", you don't necessarily have to be a point guard or someone who's facilitating offense, but you do have to be a quote unquote secondary ball handler. And I just pulled up some of the names here. I'm going to sort it by defense later, but just it seems like the best case scenario for what they're talking about is Jalen Williams or Franz Wagner. That's kind of like the archetype that you're looking for in terms of like the S tier version of this type of player.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, Jalen Williams is 6'5", but Franz Wagner is 6'8", playing a position that players 6'2" and 6'3" are often filling here. Just at first glance, I would guess the best defensive player of this group is Caruso, but there's probably other better defenders also. It's, to your point, though, a lot of Clarksons, a lot of Norman Powells, a lot of Malik Monks, a lot of Andrew Wiggins I see in here, Bogdanovich, guys like that.
Yeah, it just kind of reminds me of when you learn that there are levels to this and that there are guys doing what you can do just at higher degrees. And, you look at playing baseball, right? In Little League, your little center fielder is the leadoff guy, and he's maybe one of the smaller guys on the team, but he's really fast. And, that was always me. And I'm thinking, okay, this is just who I am. And then you get to a certain level and you see guys who are 6'3" and up, as big as that and as fast, and they can also put the ball at the ballpark. You think, oh, that's the level of leadoff hitters in Major League Baseball, right? And obviously not all of them, but if it's not all of them, then yeah, that dude has Olympic level speed or damn near close to Olympic level speed. So that is how the game kind of changes on you. These guys that are the 6'3", 6'4" two guards that are just absolutely cooking, they show up to the end. It's time for them, even in college, it's time for them to get ready for the draft. And it's, hey, we got a two guard who's 6'6", or we have a small forward who's 6'6", who can score the basketball just like you and is just inherently a better defender because he's bigger than you. And you're thinking, oh, I never had to do any of that growing up, or, whatever the case may be. I just scored and kind of went on from there. The biggest thing is what's going to happen with Cam Thomas, because that dude can fill it up, but he can't defend. And he's, again, 6'3", 6'4".
So I have an interesting development when I just filtered by defense here. And again, it's very small sample size. If we're talking about players that have played over like 1,000 minutes in a season, it's like your Carusos, DeAnthony Melton, Dylan Brooks, guys like that.
Right.
But if you just filter it for the entire season, guess who had the best defensive rating last year of these secondary ball handlers? Again, small sample size.
Give it to me.
But Mr. Devin Carter was the best defender of the secondary ball handling combo guards.
What's the minimum?
300 minutes. If you played 300 minutes in the league, that's the minimum.
Okay, I'll take it.
Again, I'm not saying that that's end all be all, but
Right.
it's something.
It is something.
They're saying he was a great defender in the
Right.
limited minutes that he was playing at his position, right? Because this position is never going to produce elite defenders.
Right.
The only one you can make the argument for is Caruso, and Caruso is such a unicorn when it comes to this type of
Is
stuff.
Keon in there? Or is he in a different position?
Let me see what they classify his position as real quick. Let me just type in Keon.
Well, Kyle's don't do that on the air.
They list him as movement shooter.
How many different types of players are there?
That is a great question. I guess we can find out.
Because this is the problem with this LeBron. This is the type of stuff, Kyle. Now this is feeling very MLE, TPE to me.
But Keon Ellis is not a ball handler, so Keon Ellis is not going to be in this group with Malik Monk or Devin Carter.
Well, to that point, then you better be elite if you're that size and you're not even a ball handler, not even considered a ball handler.
Which isn't that what Keon Ellis is? He shoots the three pretty well and plays great on-ball defense against very specific players. Obviously, he's not great against ones or fours, but against twos and threes, Keon Ellis is awesome as a defender.
The top 5 point of attack defenders in D. LeBron last season: 1, Chris Dunn; 2, Amen Thompson; 3, Asar Thompson; 4, Dyson Daniels; and 5, Keon Ellis. So he's top 5 in point of attack defense in Kyle's nerdy stat, D. LeBron. Nice. It's good to have, what to do with all this information. Look, I'd rather them be on these lists than to not be on these lists. So, there's that. As far as the Kings Summer League roster, 4 roster players, okay? Devin Carter, Isaac Jones, Hot Honey Jones, Neek Clifford, and Maxime Reynaud. 2 two-way players, Dylan Cardwell, Isaiah Stevens. 2 of last year's two-way players, Mason Jones, Isaiah Crawford. I need to see somebody. He's actually on my list too, because there are Isaiah Crawford stands out there. There's some people that love Isaiah Crawford. I haven't really seen him play.
Okay, well, maybe we go back and watch some Stockton Kings tape, only because I think that's going to give you a better insight of what he is.
I can't do that.
Than being the backup on the Summer League team. I don't think he's getting starting minutes.
I think he's going to get a decent amount of minutes. 1 Stockton King, John Elmore, and then 5 undrafted rookies: Isaac Nogues, Jabri, Abdur Rahim, Tavion Kinsey, Patrick McCaffrey, and Daniel Bacho.
Yeah. Well, who are probably all, if they so choose, future Stockton Kings.
Yeah.
I would guess.
Dylan Cardwell, that's going to be fascinating to watch him. But he's a guy, and why I said when I was talking with Chris Watkins that he's very G League-y to me is because I think he's going to be stronger than everyone, and I think he's probably going to look good in Summer League, and none of us are going to know. Some of us are going to get really hyped, and some of us are going to say, yeah, he's not going to be able to do that in the NBA. And I don't know how much we're going to learn about Dylan Cardwell from Summer League, because he's going to be facing guys being able to overpower them the same way he could in college.
Well, yeah, and that's why very often you see those college basketball stars shine in places like China, Indonesia, Australia, leagues like that where you don't have 7-footers littered all across the league. These 6'8", essentially centers, have lots of success going to play in other countries. It's just a size deal, which is, again, size taketh and size giveth, or size giveth and size taketh away, because Dylan Cardwell was awesome in college because he was bigger than everybody,
right.
But then you get to the NBA and that skill set doesn't translate because all these people are just as big as you.
Exactly. It goes
See,
back.
I landed it.
You did. Yeah. I mean, the length, the size, I was very worried, but you got there. And that goes to, it's funny. We just had a conversation about if you don't think you're going to get, it's like each level of height you get to or size you get to is different skill sets that you need. If you don't know that you're going to get to 6'6", you need to be able to do some playmaking. If you don't know if you're going to get to maybe 6'10", and you're stuck between 6'6" and 6'10", you need to shoot. And these guys, I look, and Bruce Pearl, I know he liked Chris's tweet, and that's great stuff. These guys, I'm not saying it's on the coaches or whatever it is, but they're surviving at the college level, and then they're getting a dose of reality where if I'm the coach, there should be nobody, and I mean nobody, not working on, unless you're 7'5", right? Unless you're literally 7'5", and you got Wemby who can shoot the 3-ball, but there should be nobody at this point in time not working on the 3-ball. Like, I don't know how Dylan Caldwell gets through college without working on the 3-ball. I don't know how that's possible.
Well, because college basketball is still this unique game that dudes, you've watched the NCAA tournament. What does everyone complain about? It's just dudes chucking threes and missing.
But nobody's in his ear saying, hey, and look, I'm excited to watch him. Don't get me wrong. But understanding what the league is, unless maybe the first 2 years, maybe he thinks he's going to get a growth spurt. Then he doesn't. And it's, hey, you are a 4 in this league. Name the 4. You can't. You had more time to, I guess, prepare yourself to be what you thought you could be at the next level, right? And everybody is shooting. Look, and I'm not picking on Dylan Caldwell. Isaac Jones now is having to shoot more because, okay, I just went through a season where Isaac Jones physically dominant in the G League, and then when he gets to the NBA, he looks like a different player. You got to stretch the floor, brother.
Well, I mean, part of it too with Dylan Caldwell is that he was not a player you build an offense around in college.
Sure.
Like I just pulled up his college stats real quick, and it's about the same across the board. He gets all his points on dunks and layups, but he's also big and physical and all that stuff. But he only started his super senior year of college. He went 5 years. Only his senior year did he start, and even when he was starting, he was only running 20 minutes a game.
Here's the counterpoint to what I just said. You can try to spread yourself a little bit thin and try to kind of grow your game. It's the same thing we were joking about Shabuzi. You can try to grow your catalog and leave the well of the claps and the and everything that sounds like a bar song, or you can just stick to what works and be the best version of a bar song over and over and over again. Dylan Caldwell, hey, he's undrafted. Allen, you're sitting here talking about him like he's a top 10 pick. Hey, and there's some top 10 picks that can't shoot. Allen, he's an undrafted free agent. He's getting an opportunity here. Maybe he was told, hey, your path is just to be the best version of who you are, and don't really, you're not going to be going back to baseball. Allen, you need to work on your bunting. It's cool if you hit 5 home runs, but nobody's going to draft you because you hit 5 home runs. That's not your job.
Well, and it's also like the Mariano Rivera, why do I need a third pitch when you can't hit my first or second, is
exactly.
Like, in college, that's fine, especially when you're playing in the same front court as Janai Broom, the college player of the year. But then you get to the NBA and all of a sudden, okay, now I do have to develop a slider and I do have to develop a sinker, or else I'm going to be playing in Korea, or I'm going to be, bouncing around single A and double A.
Oh, yeah. Or you're me and you gain 15 pounds senior year because you think you're muscling up, and everyone says you probably shouldn't have done that because now you can't steal as many bases.
Yeah, which, by the way, is not a bad thing. I think we should probably play just the quick sound that he had that went viral, too, just because he kind of outlines this exact point of what we're talking about. It's like, just because you didn't do it in college doesn't mean that you can't be a contributor in very specific ways.
Just energy, man. Just keep being an energy guy. My role is energy, rebounding, and defense, toughness and physicality. And I try to be the Ben Walls of this team. And so I'm a big fan of Quincy Acey. Quincy Acey, Sacramento King legend in my eyes. You know what I'm saying? So I try to fill that role. That's my role. And then as far as my development goes, just obviously offensive scoring and free throws. So yeah.
Yeah, and again, the problem is Quincy Acey is not playing anymore. And when you brought up, and we can find some comps on Dylan Caldwell, just as far as bringing up guys that, again, the Montrezl Harrells, guys that we just don't see a lot of them anymore. But again, to be an undrafted free agent with this opportunity, I'm excited to watch him. We're getting a little bit in the weeds on it, where, I'm going to be locked into all this, Maxime Reynaud. I got high expectations for that dude and his windmill dunks. Obviously, he can shoot the 3 ball. And Nick Clifford, I feel like who would have thought I'm spending more time on Dylan Caldwell than Nick Clifford. But yeah, Nick Clifford, I guess I'm not really sure where my expectations are on Nick Clifford, but I do want to see what he can bring to the table. And that battle between him and Devin, I think, is going to be really the story of the summer, because moves are still going to be made. I know some things are going to happen after Summer League as well, but there are a lot of conversations that are going to be had, whether it's the Devin Booker deal. The Devin Booker deal, they're all in Vegas right now. They got a deal done. So there's a lot of wheeling and dealing out there, and people can be very reactionary to things that they're seeing if somebody has a good game, whatever the case may be. So you never know.
Yeah, you don't know exactly how it's going to go, and also all these rosters aren't finalized yet, and they probably won't be until training camp. I mean, while we don't expect a ton of major moves to happen, we already saw that RJ Barrett's days are numbered in Toronto, as they phrased it. And last year, the Karl Anthony Towns, Julius Randle trade happened days before training camp. So, and the Damian Lillard trade happened in September. So maybe there's 1 or 2 more dominoes to fall, especially for a team like the Kings that still has a 9-guard rotation at this point.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean, we're talking about moves around the edges for the most part. And most of these summer league teams, like we said from the beginning, 70% of these guys are going to be your G League team next year, other than the players who already have NBA roster spots.
Right. And you never know what could happen, because obviously Devin Carter, taken with the 13th pick, he's not available, and he spent more time. Well, it felt like he spent more time in Stockton than in Sacramento. So we're assuming that Nick Clifford will be with the big league team a ton, but we don't necessarily know if that's going to be the case. And I think summer is the first glimpse as to what that may look like. With some of the guys, I don't really know what to do with this, but I want everybody to stay healthy, not just on the Kings, but all across the summer league, because we're seeing VJ Edgecombe and obviously Dylan Harper, as we're gonna have some fun with the Spurs conversation. That's the other part of this. These dudes a lot of them went straight from college. Then they're in the combine, and they're kind of trying to toe the line of, all right, I got to stay in shape, and obviously I'm about to get drafted, but I'm not trying to be out here hooping at anybody's 24-hour fitness and mess up potential money for myself.
Or if you're Ace Bailey, you just don't play at all and hope no one drafts you.
Yeah, right. Or I'm just going to stay away from everything. So we've already seen some people get dinged up. I'm just so tired of injuries messing everything up. So, with Cooper Flagg and Bronny going at it today, I think that's going to be fun. But I just want everybody to stay healthy, because that was the biggest L from last season. Once you drafted Devin Carter, and then all the injury stuff happened, and we're thinking, when are we going to see this kid?
When are we going to see him, and why did we trade Davion Mitchell if he wasn't going to be around?
That is very true. And I think even just the fact that we already know as of right now and starting today that we're going to see the draft picks. Chris was saying Chris has done the summer league excitement thing, and I haven't done it. So maybe this is just my chance to do it and be super excited about 2 draft picks that, kind of fit what I feel like the Kings have needed. So maybe I'm falling for it. And on top of that, them being marked as available to play, I mean, I'm just ready to go, man.
Yeah, I think my cold heart has.
You're more Chris.
I used to really like summer league when I was in high school, and in fairness, when you grew up in Southern California, the Lakers, everyone's like, "Oh my God, this is the most important thing that's ever happened," and you believe that that's the most important thing that's ever happening, but. I've seen players come and go. I used to do when I did a show, I used to do preseason Hall of Famers, and it kind of was a good metric of the summer league means absolutely nothing in terms of who's actually going to be a star and who's not. Summer league all-star Brandon Clark, shout out to him. He's made it a long time in the league when no one thought he would.
And they're still giving out the rings.
Yeah, they're still doing all summer league teams, summer league MVP.
I'm good with it, man.
Look, if the Kings are in the championship game trying to become the first 3-time champion in the history of the NBA, then we'll get excited about it.
That's right.
And if they lose in the first round of I think everyone makes the playoffs now at Summer League. If they lose in the first round of the playoffs, we'll just move on with our lives and not think about it again.
This is what the Kings need to try to accomplish right here. You got Summer League, you got G League. All they need is the NBA Cup to win all the things possible in the NBA that people don't care about.
Yeah, that is a great point. Has any team, I guess it could only be Milwaukee or the Lakers. Has anyone ever won? I know the Lakers won a Summer League championship.
I'm sure they've won I'm sure they've done the G League.
Yeah, so has anyone pulled off the trifecta of Summer League championship, NBA Cup, and G League championship?
I think the thing is, it's like tennis or golf. We are in the majors time period. We're in these are all majors. So can they pull off the Grand Slam in one season where they won G League? So now you win G League all consecutively. So you win G League, you win Summer League, and then you win the NBA Cup.
But you also have to go 4-0 in the preseason.
That's true too. That's the other championship.
Yes, that's the Grand Slam, right? Those are the 4. You've won the G League, the Summer League, go 4-0 in the preseason, and win the NBA Cup.
And don't get me started. You're overreacting. They went winless. I will spin the block when it's time for preseason because they told us.
Yeah.
They told us when we return. What does Dylan Harper being drafted to the Spurs tell us about De'Aaron Fox? Allen Stiles, Sacramento Sports.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life. Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated the best hearing aids of 2025 by Forbes Health, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices, starting at just $98 a pair.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aid.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.
Join over 1 million happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
ZipRecruiter is the place. ZipRecruiter is the place for talented teachers, savvy software developers, and master mixologists. ZipRecruiter is the place where you meet all these people and more. That's because ZipRecruiter is the place for job seekers who are looking for new opportunities. In fact, ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day, so you can find the right candidates right away. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Why'd I go to the doctor? My heart would race just taking my son to practice. It didn't feel right. So I got checked out. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit notimetowait.com. Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Sacramento Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has the biggest selection, the best prices, and unbeatable customer service. Check them out online, sacsuperstore.com, for the guaranteed lowest price on Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram. Open until 10 o'clock and right across from Hagen Oaks Golf Course. sacsuperstore.com.
Around here, the summer can smack you silly, especially if your AC is not functioning at a high level. Whitey Gleason here. I had the opposite problem over the winter. System went down. It was panic time, but Lee's Air Plumbing and Heating saved the day. Let them save you from unnecessary summer misery. Lee's Air Plumbing and Heating, reliable, trustworthy. They do great work. They won awards for their service. Check the reviews at leesair.com. Find out about their $99 HVAC tune-up service. Save your summer now. Lee's Air Plumbing and Heating on the web at leesair.com. License number 635355.
Turn up the heat with Sky River's $130,000 Blackjack Tournament, happening every Wednesday from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. Join for a chance to share in $10,000 in prizes with a guaranteed weekly winner of $5,000 in promotional chips. The first entry is free for Sky River Rewards members, plus rebuy for just $50. Visit skyriver.com for complete details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Must be 21 or over.
Get ready for a night out with Jordan Davis. It's Country in the Park 2, Saturday, September 13th at Cal Expo. Along with the special guests, Mitchell Tenpenny, Locash, Vincent Mason, and Avriana. Make it a family day out with food trucks, games, dancing, and more. Saturday, September 13th at Cal Expo.
Sponsored by Trex Racing Cage, Chicken Fingers, and Naturewood Home Furnishings. Tickets at catpfest.com.
This summer, give your kids a reason to smile, rightly. At Kids Care Dental, we make dental visits fun with a kid-friendly team, easy to schedule appointments, and expert doctors who really care.
Whether it's a checkup, a cleaning, or their very first visit, we've got you covered. We accept most insurances, and we're always ready when your schedule gets hectic.
Smiles grow here. Book online in minutes at kidscaredental.com. That's kidscaredental.com. Kids Care Dental, where healthy teeth make happy kids.
Xfinity TV is the best way to stream your favorite live sports, giving you an incredible viewing experience. From pregame to postgame, Xfinity gives you the best seat in the house with traditional TV, streaming stats and odds right from your TV.
Live and local.
It's Allen Stiles
On Sacktown Sports.
$30 more minutes with you. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports, taking you up to 2 p.m. And I feel like we've been teasing this for a couple days now, and there have been some different things that have come up. But look, I'm not hating. I'm just asking questions, okay? And this question is about a possible reunion. Okay, how about a possible reunion with?
I like that.
Yeah, with the Foxy one, with one.
Man, doesn't really matter.
With one, De'Aaron Fox. So this is what John Hollinger had to say, and we've talked about this before as far as Dylan Harper is concerned. But this is what John Hollinger had to say about the decisions that the Spurs could be making. San Antonio unexpectedly landed the second pick in the draft and added guard Dylan Harper. And another guard, Stephon Castle, ended up winning Rookie of the Year. Both players are much closer to Victor Wembanyama's timeline than De'Aaron Fox. Finally, Fox did not play particularly well once he arrived, although an injury shortened the Spurs part of his season just to 17 games. So, we still doing this? One wonders if the Spurs can get a haircut on Fox's max that begins at $49.6 million. He's valued at about $44.6 million for the coming season, and an extension would pay him during years of gentle decline. That's a crazy term, gentle decline in his age 29 to age 32 campaigns. I thought that's when you're hitting your prime. That's gentle decline now?
I mean, Tyrese Halliburton just tore his Achilles at 26.
And he was about to hit his I promise you, I thought late 20s to about 31 was your prime.
It used to be, I would say, about 25 to 31. But if you look at the NBA the last 7 years, most of your league MVPs are either 24, 25, or in Jokic's case, 27, 28. So,
and Shai's 26.
Shai's 25, I think. Or turning 26. He was 25 last year when he won the MVP.
Double check that.
So I think now it's about 24 to 27 is about your prime.
Yeah, I'm just double checking.
Just want to make sure.
I just want to make sure, because I thought I recently. He's 26. He to your point though, he's about to turn 27, Kyle, in 2 days. Celebrity birthday.
Happy birthday, Shay.
So he's in his prime.
Yeah, he's right in the middle of his prime.
There you go.
24 to 28, I would say, is your prime.
Which is not what it used to be, but I digress. On the other hand, back to John Hollinger's article, on the other hand, the cap will be rising in that same span. Fox and San Antonio could approach this in two ways. The riskier one is a 1+1 extension for 2 years and a projected $113 million contract with a player option that gives Fox his max and potentially lets him opt out in 2027 as a 10-year vet eligible for 35% of the cap and protects the Spurs long-term if Fox doesn't fit. In the short term, San Antonio can handle paying him in the max just fine. The Spurs are currently nearly $100 million from next year's tax line. A more realistic scenario is one in which nobody gets exactly what they want. San Antonio locks in for a 3-year, $150 million extension with a player option at a flat $50 million a year. That structure allows the two sides to extend the deal again in 2027, possibly wiping out the player option year. I just think this is fascinating, and I'm not trying to, dance on anybody's grave or anything like that, but I do find it fascinating that business is just tough, man. And you can go to, I'm sure everybody has a friend that left a job. And I'm not saying things were better in Sacramento, please. I'm not saying that for De'Aaron Fox. But everyone has that friend who left a job, tried to take a different job, right? Thought it was the right move. And it ended up just not working out, right? Maybe they were getting paid more money, whatever it is. And the culture fit didn't end up being correct. My wife, for example, she pulled a boomerang. Right? She was working somewhere. She does a lot of great nonprofit work. She was working somewhere for years. Felt like it was a bit stagnant, decided to move on somewhere else. A really, really notable name, I will say that. Boss was a complete idiot, and she pulled the boomerang and came back to the same spot. And she just, she's not there anymore, but she said, I'm just going to take my medicine and go back. It just is not working out. And that stuff happens. I'm not saying De'Aaron Fox is ever going to regret it, but it's funny that we thought De'Aaron was just going to ride off into the sunset with Victor Wembanyama, and this lottery thing, the lottery giveth, the lottery taketh. We had conversations about whether or not, I do think De'Aaron Fox, to be fair, is the most pure point guard out of Stephon Castle and Dylan Harper. I haven't watched Dylan as much, but definitely more of a pure point guard than Stephon Castle. But it just felt like De'Aaron was going to ride into the sunset, and now here he is again. Oh, man, I got to come to this compromise at $50 million a year. But just even the idea of the Spurs saying, De'Aaron, we want to make this work, and initially going to the Spurs as, I'm home, I'm their guy, and now it might be turning into, we got younger guys that are really more of our guys.
Yeah, and I guess it's a timeline question, which is funny because now it's just the De'Aaron Tyrese thing again. It's just a timeline question for the Spurs. Is Wemby so excellent that they are ready to compete right now? Because De'Aaron Fox is still one of the 30 best players in the NBA when healthy. Mm-hmm. So he's going to help them immediately.
Yes.
If Wemby is going to be that good. But Dylan Harper, again, 19 years old, I think even with smaller guards too, there's a little bit of a runway. We're seeing it with Scoot a little bit right now, and Jalen Brunson took a while. With undersized guards, it does take a little bit of time to develop.
He's 6'6".
He's 6'6". I did not realize that. I thought he was coming in 6'4".
I remember because both of them, both him and Stephon Castle is, I think, more of a 6'4". But yeah, I distinctly remember that dude's 6'6", but
that's my bad. I thought he was shorter than Stephon Castle.
No, he's big boy.
Take that point back. He might be ready to go sooner than we think. But De'Aaron is a win now situation. Dylan Harper is potentially a win 2 years down the road type of situation. And I think in 2 to 3 years, I think the Spurs are going to have their answer on which one they would rather prioritize. They're going to know, right? In 3 years, we're going to know the answer one way or another.
Oh, yeah, and maybe less than that. By the way, Stephon Castle, just obviously you're going to see different numbers. He's listed at 6'6". So De'Aaron is the oldest and the smallest guard.
Yeah.
On the Spurs.
Which he's a playmaker, though. And there's only, 40 of those in the league that you would say is a playmaker at, I would say, close to all three levels. Mm-hmm. This is the kind of the weird situation the Spurs are in now. I was filling in on the morning show last week, and the conversation kind of came up, which is if the Spurs could do it all over again now, they would probably be more aggressive in Kevin Durant sweepstakes with the knowledge that they had Dylan Harper and Stephon Castle, and giving that big three the runway to become what Shea, Chet, and Jalen Williams became in OKC, is give those three the runway to, even while they're on their rookie contracts, or maybe, Wemby will be in his 5th year, by then all three of them will grow together and be champions with great pieces around them.
Yeah, I just, look, and maybe it's just not a cautionary tale, but just a reminder that the game is the game, man. And things can change quickly because there will be De'Aaron Fox trade conversations. There will be. It's impossible that there won't be. It might not be this year.
Or there will be Dylan Harper trade conversations.
Sure.
Like, De'Aaron could come out and be awesome, and they could be the 5 seed, and then it's like, okay, sorry, Dylan, we got to package you for Giannis situation.
Yeah. And then it turns into the playing time. Is Dylan even going to get an opportunity? This is going to be, and I'm not, watching in a hating manner, but this is going to be fascinating because, yeah, De'Aaron, he is connected to the squad. I'm not going to pretend like some people may have moved on. I'm not going to talk about it on the air all the time, but, you talk about, what's it called, Kyle, your NBA League Pass teams. That's going to be a League Pass team because I'm just fascinated because De'Aaron made a huge decision. It looked like, hey, we are going in a certain direction, and one roll of a ping pong ball and things might change.
Well, it's given them something to think about because now they're in the opposite scenario to some of these other teams like the Rockets, where it's like they got like no wings right now. They have players, but I don't think Jeremy Sohan is a future starter in the league.
He's young.
I know he's young. I haven't seen much from him to say that dude is going to be anything other than like an Obi Toppin.
Yeah.
And then you look at like Harrison Barnes and Devin Vassell, and it's just like, what are we doing with the rest of this group?
Well, and I look at what the Spurs decided to do, and we all know you can approach the draft a couple of ways, and it's not really an indictment on Fox. It's just we're going to take the best player available, just because we have Stephon Castle and De'Aaron Fox. We're going to take the best player. But if the best player available is a 6'6" point guard, you do it. You do it, and you figure it out later.
Well, and also, like, maybe they come to the conclusion we can play Stephon Castle at the 3, which is just to say Stephon Castle can guard 3s, right? Because on offense, it doesn't matter.
Right.
They're just saying we think Stephon Castle can be good enough to guard 3s at an elite level, and so therefore now we don't have to worry about it because we can play Fox and Harper together.
Whitey Gleason, is he in the Summer League camp? Is he as hyped as I am? Nobody else is hyped like me for Summer League. I guess it's because it's my first one. But come on, man. It's time to go. It's Kings basketball tonight. And next up, Whitey Gleason, down South on Sports.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Keeping your engines healthy means protecting them in season and out. Experts trust Stable to do that. And third-party testing confirms it. Stable is the industry leader in preventing fuel-related issues, no matter if you use it in your car, boat, or outdoor power equipment. In season or out, at every fill-up or when you store, start with Stable.
With Progressive's Name Your Price tool, you get coverage options based on how much you want to pay for car insurance. And then you decide how to spend the rest of your money because you're in charge. And right now, you're going to pay for groceries. But you decide what groceries. Just keep in mind you're running out of dishwashing soap. But you decide if you're going to buy that soap. It's just those dishes won't clean themselves, will they? Remember, with Progressive's Name Your Price tool, we'll help you find coverage at a fair price. And then you're in charge. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Not available in all states. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
The Giant Summer Sale is here. Get giant savings on our Giant selection only at Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop.
Looking to own or lease? Save during the Honda Summer Event and drive a brand new Accord or Civic. See all our specials at FolsomLakeHonda.com.
As a family-owned and operated dealership since 2009, customer service is our #1 priority. Our customers love doing business with us, and you will too.
Folsom Lake Honda. Go to FolsomLakeHonda.com.
Your one-stop Honda shop.
Carmichael Dave here for my friends at American Energy Heating and Air. Yes, I always tell you they are a family-owned operation, been in business since 81, A-plus Better Business Bureau, but it is hot. We are in those Sacramento hot months. I want to focus on them being your second opinion partner. What does that mean? Maybe you've got somebody you're working with or you've worked with in the past in the HVAC world. Guess what? They want to give you a second opinion. How much does it cost? Nothing. You call them up and say, hey, can I get a second opinion on this deal? They come out and they either say, wow, that's a great deal. You should feel better about that. Or they say, we can beat that price. And usually they're going to beat it by a lot. Guess what? You just saved money and it didn't cost you anything to find out. It's a no-lose situation. Go with a trusted company. American Energy, 916-520-9990. That's 916-520-9990 or AmericanEnergyAir.com. Jingle Singers, take it away.
Call 916-520-9990 now.
With 25 award-winning years in Northern California, Ashton & Price is your local injury law firm. Pro attorney tip: if a firm presents as local but they're in LA, red flag. If your first consultation is not with a lawyer, big red flag. At Ashton & Price, your first consult is with a local attorney, and if serious injury prevents travel, a lawyer will come to you. Still not enough? George Washington's my uncle. At Ashton & Price, no red flags, just red, white, and blue.
Remember, for the best advice, don't think twice. Call Ashton and Price.
Visit BigOTires.com for this week's specials. We have sets of 4 tires starting at just $400, plus service specials that include oil change, tire rotation, and more. With our low price guarantee, drive away knowing you got the best deal on the road. Get details at BigOTires.com.
Allen Stiles
You can join the show by texting 916-339-1140.
on Sacktown Sports.
Whitey Gleason joins us.
Waited here for you.
Whitey, come on.
Ever long. Summer League. You got Summer League fever.
Are you on the hype train with me for Summer League? Come on. Get on the hype train. Let's go.
I'm at the station. I'm thinking of getting a ticket and getting on board.
Are you?
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about, Whitey.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do it.
It's not really Kings basketball. Everyone, we got Kings basketball.
It is.
Well.
Maxime Reynaud is a king.
Okay. You're right.
Meek Clifford, a king.
Uh-huh. Devin Cotta, point guard.
Devin Cotta, the king.
Yeah.
There's going to be
Isaac Jones.
There's going to be multiple battles.
Here
Okay.
we go.
There's battles from team to team. There's battles within the team. Hey, Mason Jones, that's my three-pointer. No, that's my three-pointer. Hey, let's battle it out. This is what I'm talking about, Whitey.
Do you think they'd even lose a game at Summer League this year? They're so talented.
I mean, they're stacked.
Yeah.
There's that Maxime Reynaud. I mean, this guy's from Stanford.
Mm-hmm.
Stanford. All right, we get to watch this.
Yeah.
He's a Sacramento King.
Yes.
Okay.
That got no gas. He'll lock people down on the perimeter.
Dylan Cardwell. Come on, man.
Yeah.
That guy, he's going to be swatting like it's volleyball.
Mm-hmm. You're definitely hyped. You're ready.
John Elmore's going to be doing his thing.
He brings a little experience to the program.
He's a grizzled vet. Hey,
yeah,
you can't stay out that late. Get in here. Don't eat the buffet. Have a nice meal.
Yep.
This is what I'm talking about, Whitey.
These people can't even go to the casinos yet. They're all 20.
Look, no. And you know what? Your partner's not here.
Uh-huh.
But you guys,
because he's in Vegas.
He got the and I was in the room when he was sitting there saying, I'm gonna ignore Allen, because I told everyone on this show Draper is going to ignore me when I see him, and then he said it on the air. So now I have to annoy him when I see him. It's just part of the deal.
Right.
But this is what I'm saying, Whitey. Now I'm not saying you, but the Drive guys as a show had some things to say about getting into the hypotheticals and the trade candidates. Well, this right here is real. This right here is real basketball.
Summer League.
So if you can't get hyped about hypotheticals, if you can't get hyped about Summer League, do you have a pulse, man?
Right.
This is what gets me up in the morning.
Glorified G League.
This is what gets me up in the morning.
Good. And
Devin Carter.
When are you going to Vegas?
I leave 7 a.m. Oh, I'm sure you'll have some fun with this. Did you hear about my passport situation?
No. I don't mean to dredge up unhappy.
No, it's fine.
things.
Obviously we got the little one coming in September. So I'm going to be on paternity leave. Hey, I'll get my real ID and handle all that. when that happens. All fine, all good. I have no other trips planned. Nick Clifford gets drafted. My guy, Maxime Reynaud, gets drafted. Now I got to go to Summer League. Well, I don't have a real ID and my passport is expired. But TSA says I'm good for 2 years domestically with my passport.
Okay. All right.
With my passport. So I'm good to go. But Jason and Verlad during the crosstalk, they were saying, dude, what's wrong with you? Because I've been at the DMV, but I got an address change. But that's on them. They didn't tell me, hey, you might as well get your real ID now in 2021. They didn't tell me that. I'm not thinking about that.
Yeah, but you're okay. You don't have plans to go overseas.
I'm good. You know, people on the SAC chat said, hey, Alan, they looked it up on TSA and sent it to me. I said, I told you, I'm good.
Yeah, way to go.
That's
well
right.
Played.
So, you know, but people were giving me a hard time about that. I'll be in rare form, Whitey, and I can't wait 4:30. And people were kind of going back and forth about what's going to be televised and what's not. Do you have any information on that?
I think the Kings game is on NBA TV, but I'd have to double check. I believe I saw that.
Okay, but they might not get every game. They might not televise every game.
The Kings game is on NBA TV, but it's after a Cavs Pacers game. So
is that because Cooper and Bronny going to be on ESPN?
Yeah, and there's not going to be a delay or anything because it's in the same building. So it's just after Cavs Pacers ends is when Kings Magic starts.
Come on, baby. This is what I'm talking about, Whitey.
What is it that you most want to see, that you need to see from the Kings?
I know we don't have too much time, but, you know, number one. Yeah, no. Play the music. We got Devin Carter.
Yeah.
Okay, that battle with Nick Clifford. Devin Carter's my number one. This is what I want to see. Hey, young brother, this is your opportunity.
See a battle between him.
Oh, yes, because Nick Clifford's going to have some point guard duties, okay? So that's my number one. Number two, my guy, Maxime Reynaud. We know you can shoot the three ball. We saw what you did at Stanford. Can you defend at a good enough level? Can we even have that conversation? Can you score? Can you rebound? What else can you do?
That has to be why he lasted so long, right?
Yes, we like the windmill dunk. It looks great, but what can you do when you are, you know, feet to the floor against talent trying to take their lunch money? Number three, we got Nick Clifford. Now, Nick Clifford obviously is kind of connected to Devin Carter, Whitey, but Nick Clifford, are you the archetype that we've been looking for? They're saying you're 6'6". They're saying you're a shooting guard. Can you guard the three at the summer league level? Because we're going to need you to do some of that when Sacramento comes to town and when it's time to go, when it's time for the regular season in October, Whitey. These are the top three things that I'm looking forward to. This is it.
Alan, don't the Kings need to see Nick Clifford and Maxime Reynaud, who you've mentioned 15 times in the last 40 seconds, my guy? They need those guys to stand out. They need, whether they're scoring a lot, whatever they're doing, whether the stats are impressive or not, they need to be players where anybody watching go, ooh, those guys are better than anybody else.
That would be ideal. Now, I don't think that's completely necessary, but that would be ideal, I would say. Because we didn't get to see Devin Carter, and he still had some moments at the NBA level. But, yes, that would be for sure ideal. And I would say more so, I don't know, who do you think is more important? I know it's funny, Maxime was the second-round pick, and obviously Nick was the first-round pick, even though it was late first round. Feels like we're putting them on the same level, which maybe because they're pretty close and when they got drafted. But who do you think is more important to see?
More important.
Yeah.
I think Nick Clifford has more of a chance to help him sooner.
Yeah, that, you know, what he can do. Does his shot translate? Do either of their shots translate? I think that's huge. And again, the defense, the Swiss Army knife that we've been missing, Whitey. I mean, you can't be.
Who is this Swiss Army knife? This is
Nick Clifford
is the Swiss Army knife.
That's literally what it said on his, what is it?
So
no ceilings. I think it was either no ceilings or
someone tweeted out after he got drafted, Nick Clifford, the Swiss Army knife.
That's almost exactly, and I'm not blaming you for this. It's just curious. Exactly what I remember reading about Devin Carter.
No.
I'm serious.
No.
The scouting reports of jack of all trades. You want someone who can do a little bit of everything? Devin Carter's your guy.
I feel like that was kind of accurate. But
it's different with Nick.
Because he's lengthier.
Yeah, he's got more.
So you haven't seen him play a game yet as an NBA player, but you're all in.
I'm all in on the idea.
He's all in on Maxime right now.
Yeah, I'm all in on Maxime.
He's your guy, isn't he?
He is my guy.
Yeah.
How does it feel also?
Frere?
I need to check in on where Grant Nelson is. What if I run into Grant Nelson in Vegas?
Oh, you got to take a photo with him. What if you run into Grant Nelson at TSA while he's taking his shoes off?
Hey, man.
You might run into Grant Nelson in Vegas. He might be, bringing your luggage up to your room.
Okay.
That was pretty good, Joe.
Leave him be. All right.
I'm not really seeing him on any team here.
No, he was on the Nets. He'll be with the Nets.
Okay,
I believe.
Let's pull up the Nets. So Nets got so many people. I don't know if he made the cut.
Yeah, who in the heck are they even gonna field out there? But I'm telling you, Whitey, this is an opportunity, and this is what I'm saying. I might be more excited for this than the regular season.
Now, there's something wrong with you if that's the case.
This is hope. This is the future.
Mm-hmm.
This is the under 30 league.
The Nets,
besides John Elmore.
The Nets are fielding 16 players on their summer league team. That is insane.
Is Grant one of them?
Grant is one of them.
Come on. Start the man.
I think he's also the youngest player on the team.
Start the man.
You know what else I'm interested in seeing is, I know their coach mentioned this during the practices this week. He says, like the Kings always say, we want to play fast. Yeah. We're going to play fast. I know Doug wanted them to get up 45, 53s last year. I want to see if they're still committed to that and if they're going to play fast like they say they are in Summer League.
Yeah, would this be any kind of indication, and I've had this conversation with Roundtable as well, of what the offense is going to look like?
Maybe a little.
Right? You think Doug, and this will come up as we get closer to the regular season, but yeah, that's
maybe just to the extent that at what pace are they playing?
Right.
Yeah.
But just from a larger question is, and every team, I know the Warriors have their distinct offense, but every team doesn't necessarily have, they run this or they run, we were talking about Dale South. They run Princeton. I don't know if they still run that. They ran that when I was
there. You want to see Maxime Reynaud in the high post dealing like Sabonis?
I don't know. I just don't know what we're supposed to see. Right. I'm just talking about the Kings offense moving forward.
Yeah.
Not even just summer league, but
the point is whatever we're going to see, we see it tonight, Allen. This afternoon.
It happens tonight. You know, the funniest thing is I'm going to have to watch from the back because, or rewind it because baby Stiles' first dental appointment.
Oh, well, that's more important.
Yeah. Kids Care Dental. And we're doing some social stuff with them.
Yeah, it's also sponsored.
That's
Whitey.
right. That's right. Shout out to Tiffany for getting that done. And we'll be out there at Kids Care Dental. And then I'm watching Summer League. Thanks to Kyle. Great job as always. All the callers, texters, sack shouters. Thanks to Chris Watkins as well. Drive Guys coming up next. What do you think? Kyle Draper?
Yeah, he'll be joining us from Vegas.
And great. He can tell me the room that he used. Jay Johnson as well. Until tomorrow. Secure the bag. Like me.
Just energy, man. Just keep being an energy guy. My role is energy, rebounding, and defense. Toughness.